Yo, 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 what is up, everyone? It is I, Corey, Super Jagon, Marco, and we are back with the second attempt at recording DODCAST Season 5, Episode 13, what is likely to be the second, maybe third last episode of the season before a big, long break from DOD that we all get to have. I did just try to record this a second ago. I had some issues with codecs and whatnot, so we are now good to go. There should not be any hiccups whatsoever. I can get myself all good to go and not worry about a goddamn thing. Alright. Let me just double check that I got this all set. I do. Alright, so obviously this week getting into the semifinals in Silver A, which I think is going to be a fun one. The Silver B finals as well, which I think is going to be very hotly contested. And speaking of hotly contested, the gold finals where we play bandits. Hopefully, since I'm in the match, this will be a way that I can keep the runtime down on this episode, but we all know how that goes. Odds are I will talk about it just as much as the other matches. So, first things first, we have the frag of the week to get into. War Within back on the grind. Last week he didn't get enough submissions. I'm not sure if this frag of the week is for the first 2 weeks of gold playoffs and then the first week of silver A and B. I know I think maybe the only one who submitted, or one of just a few for the first week of the playoffs, so I don't know if my clips from that will be included in this, or not. So either I'll have like 10 clips in this frag of the week, or it'll be just the second week of the playoffs included. So I have no idea what to expect. We're going to find out, though, real quick here. Alright. So let me get this all queued up. I don't need this guy here anymore. Just was watching CS clips. Alright. Here we go. Please, God, don't let it start skipping. I think it's buffering. I think it's okay, because it's not using the actual codec. Okay. Let me go like that. Just turn it down just a smidge. If it starts to skip too much, I've got an idea about it fixing.
Maybe the world is gonna spin out of control.
Okay. That'll fix it.
I don't care anymore. What if I quit today working for the man?
So it looks like it's not the first round of gold. Secretly nice. Pixelapex out of train. Default? Sounds like default to me, but I could be wrong.
When the sky falls to the sea,
Quarter.
I won't mind the cause of me.
Good trigger discipline.
When the wind bursts through the trees, I walk alive, a dragonfly,
This reminds me so much of the band Default. It's not Default, I don't know who it is. Nice. That's a nice clip. Oh yeah, we got the man himself now. Ah, I like that play a lot. I like that clip. Bullet, nice shot. Oh, this is me. I know what I'm gonna do next. That guy's good. Matt Pizzana. Got hit in the face. Nice. Beep. Yeah. Ooh. Oh, ho, ho, ho. So good. Oh, that's me. Threw me off for a second there. I remembered the shot once I hit it. When I saw a bar, I wasn't thinking it was me, though. Who's this gonna be? Wow. Bodies everywhere. This is Chevelle for sure. Oh yeah, I remember this happening, yeah. Timo from last week's really fun Lennon game in that best of 3. Secretly again, this guy is a monster. Breaking mid 2. Quarter, nice shot. Yeah, fuck that Garan. Nice. Ooh, wide swing. Still gets the pistol headshot. Oh, this is Yagoon. Oh yeah. I'm crouched Karin, baby. Nice, Meep again. Bullet. Oh yeah. I know what this clip is.
Going on the last flag, they are able to grab it back.
I didn't catch that double.
For Corey and Sick. There's only one
Stupid.
left alive. Still,
I
where is
that
he?
on me.
He's on the one. Corey with a hat trick.
Smart
Will this be
Corey
another cap
Price.
out for Gray Hair Mafia? Looks like it will be. Can they grab the flag? No, they cannot. Corey Price. Oh my God, Corey with a 7-kill streak on the last flag.
One of them was a TK. Yeah. Oh yeah. Let me get this. Oh, actually, I can just go like this. Man, couple really nice clips in that one. I loved War Within's clip on Armory. It's my kind of clip right there. Crouch up, no scope, then a scope kill, and then another mid-range no scope. Those are the clips I live for. Little 3K with 2 no scopes. One of them is a crouch chop. Yeah. And getting to see a bunch of Meep clips is always fun too. Of course, we know how I feel about seeing new players putting in some work. All right. So, I guess realistically, oh no, there's probably going to be 2 Frag of the Weeks left to be made. I was going to say realistically only 1 Frag of the Week left for people to have a chance to submit to, but Silver A finals will be after the Gold and Silver B finals. So I don't know, will War Within just put it all together in one, wait 2 weeks to do it, and have there be 1 big Frag of the Week left to be made, or will it be more of a, make one now for the Silver B and Gold finals and Silver A semis, and then do one that's just the Silver A finals? I have no idea. Regardless, if you get clips, send them Ryan's way, please, because I had a bunch of clips from the previous week that just no one's ever going to see now because not enough people submitted. Ugh, poor Yagoon. All right, moving on. We got to get into recapping what was the Gold semifinals, the Silver A quarterfinals, and the Silver B semifinals. This is gonna be a long one, I think. Now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, I don't think this one's gonna be short. I kinda didn't really think too hard about that before I got going, did I? All right, so window capture. Let me put you on the Discord. There it is. All right. So, starting off with the Silver B semis. Now I didn't get to, and I mean I generally preface most weeks like this season because it's just been the way it's been going. I did not get to cast as much this weekend as I would have liked to. I didn't get to do any silver matches, and yeah, I really just did the over versus bandits game, right? So like, when it comes to speaking from my own personal experiences, I don't got a lot to go off of this week, so it's going to be me making inferences off of the screenshots, which I hate to have to do. So let's start off with the late arrivals versus M1 game. In talking about this last week, a lot of it was going to come down to the lineups, right? And it looks like lineup-wise, late arrivals did have everybody that they wanted to have in their lineup. M1, maybe not so, no Moosh, right? That makes a very, very big difference when he's around. So late arrivals, they did take this one 2-0. Harrington and Railroad 2 were the maps. So starting off on Harrington, it was late arrivals, 486 to 145 for M1. I forget whose map. I think that this was late arrivals map pick, if I recall correctly. I can actually just check that. I don't have to speculate. Where is it? I want the pick band. There it is. Late arrivals, yes, picked Harrington, and M1 picked Railroad 2. Okay. All right, so getting into the screenshots here. First half Allied side for late arrivals, 250 to 59, about a 30 kill differential there. On the M1 side, we did see quite a bit of M1's play in that frag of the week just now. 39 on three-sided quarter makes sense. He had multiple, like, 6, 7 kill streaks there in that frag of the week. Same with Meep at 31. Pizza with 33, as I talked about going into that game. Like, I had just scrimmed with Pizza Hut going mid with me in that game, and I figured he would have, at very least, a good game on Harrington in general. 27 for Red Dog. 13 for Alapex and 9 for Joel. And then on the late arrival side, you had 38 on Nightmares, 37 on Bo. So the bars put in big, big work there on Mountainside, which just tends to make everything much easier for the rest of your team when you don't have to worry about ladder control. You don't have to worry about getting flanked double doors, stuff like that. 34 on Secretly, because this guy never stops dropping 30s. 26 apiece for Azilla and Casino. Getting back in the game there for his first playoff half, and then 21 for Bullet on the third rifle. So what was that, like about a 200-point lead after their Allied side? You know, that's pretty good, right? Like, you feel pretty good about that. It's not perfect, but, you know, what is that, about 5 caps, right? You can't complain too much about that. It could very easily go against you, but they came out and won their Axis side too, actually by almost as much as their Allied side, so these guys came to fucking play in this game by the look of it. So, it was actually similar in the frag totals too, which is kind of interesting, right? Like, usually you'd expect, if you win your Axis side on Harrington, one of the two teams ends up with like a 50 kill lead, but in this case, both halves were pretty similar in kill differential. Three-sided quarter for M1 had another good half there with 31. Red Dog and Pizza Hut both had 24. Alapex with 20. Meep with 19. And Joel with 15. And then on the late arrival side, Jesus, Casino, Guillermo right there with 43 on the car. 43 and 14, no less. Just a crazy half there. I mean, you know, what more can be said? 43 and 14 with 16 flag caps. I'm guessing that means he didn't go mid, because the mid players generally are not getting that many flag caps, because you can't just trade mid back and forth 50 times. 37 on Secretly, so an 80 kill half there between the two cars. Absolutely ridiculous. 31 for Nightmares on one of the heavies. Nightmares has been great. You know, sometimes he was car barring, sometimes he's just heavying. The guy is a bona fide good fucking player. 25 for Bo, and then 19 for Bullet, 13 for Azilla. Axis side sniping, right? It can be very unfun at times, and especially when the rest of your team is giving you no one to kill. So, that was the Harrington side of things, right? I'm sure if you're late arrivals after that Axis side in particular, like, you got the momentum going. This game, it may not show in like the actual visible, tangible things that you can see, but momentum is a big deal. That's why we see comebacks happen a lot. If you all of a sudden you go from having the lead by 200, you give up a couple caps, the ball gets rolling downhill. And when you've got the momentum heading into a second map in particular, it is very, very tough for the other team to deal with. So, first half of Railroad 2 here, that did definitely carry over. 202 to 18 was the score here, a 32 kill differential. So again, about the same, which, I mean, that's not that bad, honestly. But on the M1 side here, 39 for Pizza Hut. What a nice half there for Pizza. He had a good series all around, it looks like. Meep with 26, same for him. 22 for Alapex. He had a good score overall there, 22 and 17. Quarter at 21 and 29. Red Dog 1930 and Joel 1132. And then on the late arrival side, wow, secretly we did see him have numerous clips in that frag of the week. 50 and 22 with a Garand. It pretty much doesn't matter what anyone else does at that point when a guy goes 50 and 22 with the Garand on Railroad 2 going mid. That means he's killing everybody in mid all the time. You know, and apartments probably too. So that's just a ridiculous half by Secretly. And then just to throw a couple more chestnuts on that fire, Casino, 32 kills on the other Garand as well. 82 kills between the two of them. And Nightmares with 29 and 17 deaths. The big three there really, really pulling their weight as much as is humanly possible in this series to start off their playoff run. 25 for Azil on the sniper, 23 for Bullet, and then 11 for Bo. There wasn't much left for him to do. And then on to the final half of this series here. Axis side, it was a 71-point win there. Frag total 27 kill differential there. On the M1 side, again, Pizza Hut, man, 32 kills there. Like, he averaged over 30 kills a half across the series, I believe. If it wasn't 30, it was like 29 and a half. So, Pizza Hut, like I said, I did play with him right before, like the day before these series were going to happen, and he looked really good, so I'm not surprised by that. Meep with 29 again, coming up in second there. 27 for Quarter, 23 for Red Dog, 22 for Alapex, and 20 for Joel. And then on the late arrivals side, wow, 42 again here for Casino. 40 kills with the car, both car halves. Just putting in work. His rifle partner with 32 as well. And then 34 for Bojanglers. Another 32 on Azilla. 24 for Nightmares on the STG. And 16 for Bullet on the other STG. I'm guessing he was in train. I don't know. Could have been Bo in train with that Unter, though. 34 and 27. Just looking at Alapex's score, though, I'm guessing it was Bullet. I'm pretty sure Alapex would have been going train that half. I don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. So, overall, late arrivals take the series 2-zip. They head on to the Silver B finals, and let's see who it is that they're about to play against. HRG versus Loswick here. All right. So this one went the full 3. As expected, I thought this game was likely to be very, very hotly contested, and it looks like it was. No real big blowouts here. Let's see, Railroad 2 was about 120. That might be the biggest blowout. This one's 220 on Anzio. That is a 60-point cap, though, so those are pretty similar. And then 30 points on Thunder. So starting off, I want to check who picked what map. There it is. So HRG, Anzio, Loswick, Thunder, and then Railroad 2 was the decider. So HRG's map pick, they did take it, 553 to 335. All right. These screenshots, I should be able to see. They're a little bit blurry, but looking mostly okay. So they did, in fact, too. This was another game where a lot of it was going to come down to who HRG was going to have. Right, in the previous game, they had been missing Storm, who, I think has got to be the most important player on that team, right? Sure enough, here we go. First half, Anzio, 367 to 244. HRG on the Allied side win. The kills only a 17 kill differential, very, very close. About 123-point lead after the Allied side. 2 caps. Very doable. But Storm 33 and 15 on the sniper, just putting in massive work across the board. And then Nitrox on one of the rifles, 24 and 22. Nick had like a whole 24 and 16, so 3 really nice scores there out of those guys in what I assume was a very back and forth game. And then Mike on one of the Grands was 16, but 22 flag caps. You know, like on Allied side bridge, a lot of times you need somebody there just being like, get the fuck on the bridge. Because it's never going to be a perfect situation to cap. There's always the potential for shit to go wrong. Sometimes, and it's the same thing on Harrington, especially on your Axis side, you just got to fucking get on it. You know you just killed 3. Hey, they might have a favorable respawn timer, but you're never going to know for sure, ever. And it looks like Mike was definitely the guy to be doing that. Like, we need to just get the fuck on the cap right now. 16 on G as well, and then ARG with 14. And on the low Swick side, Empy coming in with 24 to lead the way. Manga with 22. Jiraiya Jr. with 21. AZ 18. Jiraiya 16. And then 9 for Ryan. And then into the second half, HRG's Axis side. It looks like they managed to really hold low Swick down from being able to really get anything going. 186 to 91. A 46 kill lead, it looks like. Yeah. So, very convincing half here on their Axis side for HRG. Starting off with the low Swick side, because I just fucked that up and did it backwards in the first half. But 24 on MP again to top frag overall for the boys. 21 for AZ, I'm guessing on a sniper. 21 and 19. And then 14 apiece for Manga and Jiraiya. 13 for Jiraiya Jr. and 12 for Ryan. And then on the HRG side, once again, Storm 32 and 13. That's 65 and 26. Almost getting up to a 3-to-1 KD ratio there. And he's tied with Nitrox, his countryman, as well. 32 and 18 with the Stas. So, as alluded to last week, like, those guys are very, very important. Like, Nitrox can play and snipe, too. I've sniped against Nitrox years ago. He's a good sniper, but I think he is more valuable with the mobility on a rifle, while you got Storm on the sniper rifle to just, lay the smack down. 23 for ARG on one car, 22 for Mike on the other, 18 for G, and 17 for Nick. 17 and 11 on that STG. He must have been the street heavy, right? Just a really, really nice half. Really, really nice game all around on Anzio. That's a pretty exemplary Anzio win right there. About 200 points. A total of about a 60 to 70 kill differential. Just about everybody went positive on their Axis side. They really found a way to just isolate everybody on low Swick, not let anyone really find a rhythm. On Allied side, a lot of the time you get pushed back. You got to be able to recap Plaza. It looks like HRG did a good job of containing that, never letting it spiral out of control. Again, I think Head Like a Hole would have been the street heavy with that score. Never letting them get into street and use that to fan out to the rest of the map. So good work there by HRG to start things off in this series. And then on to map 2. So it looks like this is map 2 here. Yeah. I think it's a little bit out of order, but regardless. So here we have Low Swick's map pick. So this is Thunder. Overall, Low Swick takes it, of course. Taking each other their own map picks, which you'd think would happen more often than it really does, right? We've seen a lot of map pick stealing this season especially. We just saw it again in gold, but we'll get into that later. 123 to 93, a 30-point win for Low Swick on Thunder. Odds are there wasn't a cap out here. Just looking at the scores, I don't think so. Yeah, no. So just a great job of controlling mid overall for Low Swick here. Understanding the way the ticks work, understanding where you're at relative to the other team score-wise, and just how much you can afford to give up mid and how long. So, 65 to 41, Low Swick take their Allied side here. Outfrag HRG by 16. On the HRG side, of course, Storm 29 and 18 once again leading the way, and then Nitrox at 24, ARG with 23, Mike and Nick with 16 apiece and 12 for G. And then on the Low Swick side, 33 for Jiraiya Jr. Nice score there. 29 for Empy as well. Another one, 29 and 17 to be exact. 22 for Manga. 20 for AZ. 18 for Ryan and 14 for Jiraiya. 24-point lead after your allied side. I do think that overall this map is allied sided. But hey, this is a new version of it. It could be, the wins could be changed a little bit without mid-house being so allied favored. Now mid-house is really just one level. It's very easy to clear. There is still a mid-house window, but you just got to run up through the arches of McDonald's. There's a staircase and a window, and that's it. So, again, very easy to clear it out. You can't really see, like, what Colin did in that Thunder match he was ringing for, who was it, Over? Or was it Chilled he rang for? I forget which of the two teams he rang for, but where he went 13-0 to start off the fucking game, just not going to happen anymore. I'm sure if anyone could figure it out, it is Timo, but I don't know how that would be possible, considering if you're in the mid-house itself, you don't get to see anything. You can just look out the door, and then what you can see is 5 nades come blow up in your face with you having nowhere to go. So maybe Thunder is a little more Axis-sided now with those cars, with the Axis Loft. I don't know. I haven't got to play it enough to really get to see, and I didn't get to watch this game to be able to tell. Regardless, they did win their allied side by 24. They also won their Axis side by the look of it, though they did get out fragged. That's interesting. I wonder how that went down. I guess maybe Loswick just were opportunists here and they were able to get mid without really having to team wipe, or maybe they were threatening to cap out. HRG was on the back foot defending a flag, but it's a very close game, so I doubt it. Looking at this half, I would love to know exactly how a 6-point lead was also a 16-kill deficit. That is very interesting to me, especially on this map. All right. So, on the HRG side here, Nitrox with the top frag this time on the Garand, 29 and 21. And then G had 27. So, the bars actually put in big work here. 27 for G, 26 for Head Like a Hole. That is very, very cool. I'm wondering if maybe they were getting pushed out bunker a lot, right? Maybe they were making up the difference in like Loswick holding mid by getting the 2 or the 1 and getting some ticks there and just kind of like locking a couple guys down at spawn. That looks like it's a very possible way that things turned out the way they did. But 24 still on Storm, 24 and 18. Arg with 17, Mike with 12, and then on the Loswick side, 23 for Jiraiya Jr., 21 for Manga, 20 for Jiraiya, 20 for Empy, 19 for Ryan, and 16 for AZ. They take their map pick overall by 30 points. It looks like they are very, very good at Thunder and understanding like what you got to do to win on this map. It's one of those things, and I know it's very polarizing, Thunder, but to me, it is an important map. And not every map should or ever needs to be a fucking all-out shit show, random frag fest of just like, I'm running straight forward through like a straight line of a route and just getting 10 kills from spawn to spawn, right? There needs to be some intricacy to these maps, otherwise it's just going to get boring and repetitive. You need the Thunders of the world, you need the Shamils of the world, just to take away some of that monotony that comes from playing the Lennons and the Harringtons and the Railroad 2s that are just like, the end game is just to get from spawn to spawn over and over again and get 5 kills at a time. Those maps are obviously very fun, but to me, if you just look at the Thunders and Shamils and, I guess kind of Anzio, depending on the teams that are playing, as being, this is just another side of the game. You have to have a well-rounded game to be able to be the best at the game, so you got to understand more than just how to deathmatch DOD, because it's not a deathmatch. It is a team game, capture the objective, and maps like this, it's very interesting to see how teams work together to make it work between the two sides of that coin, both the deathmatchy maps, the Lennons, Harringtons, and the Thunders, the Shamils, etc. Maybe Halley is another example, right? Although that one's a little bit different, having the extended cap on the heavy side, you do still kind of have like a dual objective battle going on there, but it is quick flanks as well. I don't know. I'm sure someone out there can give me another example of a Thunder type map that I'm not thinking of right now in competitive play. But I just think of Shamil as the other one. Although Shamil, again, really comes down to who's playing, if I'm being honest, right? Shamil used to be very slow and deliberate like that, but now, without MGs and stuff like that, it's not quite the same.
You can certainly have teams deploy a strategy like that, where like on Allied side you can just hold wood. Obviously now Anjou was the version that's been played now, but like generally speaking, a map like Shamil, the strategies could be hold puddle as an axis, hold wood as an ally, and everything is a stalemate. That was 2004 though. Like nowadays it's really not like that. I feel like that map got a bad rap because of 20 years ago for some reason. Like, I don't really know. That map plays as fast as you play it. You do not have to just sit there. If you do just sit there, it's boring because of your decision making, right? So I don't know why that map gets such a bad rap for its slow play when, in general, like, without MGs in play, the slow play has really gone away for the most part. But on to the third map, and this one is another more wide open frag fest of a map. Railroad 2, this was the decider. No one picks it. HRG takes it by 121 points, 236 to 115, to clinch their berth into the Silver B finals to play later rivals. Let me see here. So, wait, that's not Railroad 2. That's Railroad 2. First half here, HRG on their allied side. It's about a 118-point win there for them. 32 kill differential. On the low Swick side, Empy again top frags, man. Empy came to play when it mattered most, as you would expect. 34 for him there. 23 for Jiraiya Jr., Manga with 21, AZ with 16, Jerayer with 15, and Ryan with 14. And then on the HRG side, of course, it's Storm, 33 kills on the Sniper Allied side, 28 for Nitrox in second, Mike with 27 on the Garand. This is a map that, certainly to my memory, Gandhi was always very formidable at, going ticket and four-way. I'm curious, I don't know for sure that he did that, but 26 kills on G, 25 on Head Like a Hole and ARG with 16. And then over to the final half of this series, it was 92 to 89, a much, much closer half here. Just coming up a little short was Low Swick. The kill total is deceptive because there's one player missing from the screenshot for Low Swick here. Looks like Jiraiya Jr. 152 to 113, but you can assume he probably had at least 20 kills, so it's probably more like a 15 to 20 kill differential there. Unless he had like 35, right? Then it was actually like basically tied. Huh? I could look at the deaths. Yeah, 143. So yeah, 143 to 152. It's very close. Obviously not taking into account TKs and suicides. Basically about a 10 to 15 kill differential. Alright, so on the Low Swick side, 32 once again for Empy. Based on the deaths, I would guess that Jiraiya Jr. was actually the second top fragger there. And then 25 for AZ, Jiraiya with 20, 19. It's not Jiraiya Jr. that I was missing, actually. It was Manga. Manga was the one I was missing. 19 for Ryan, 17 for Jiraiya Jr., Manga is the guy missing from the screenshot, and just based on the deaths, I would guess that he was about 30 kills. There's destined to be a couple TKs every half, so maybe more like 27. That's my speculation. You never know. And then, of course, Nitrox, 37 kills, taking the car there. Really nice half. 30 for Storm. 27 for Head Like a Hole, 26 for Gandhi, 17 for ARG, 17 and 8, so he must have been going train there, and then 15 for G, and that does it. HRG going on to the finals versus later rivals. That game I think is going to be really, really fun. I hope both teams have all their starters there, because I think that game could be a 3-map, like similar to the Over Greyhair Mafia series, honestly. Big win there for HRG to clinch it. Low Swick, I've talked about it all season. Like, to me, these guys are sort of like the next Romario, right? Like, just continuing to grow as a team going forward. Hopefully they do stick together, and just continue to practice. There's so much time. And this is the thing that's happened in seasons past, right? A team might look one way in the way that they perform to finish out a season, like take a loss here and get eliminated, and then that just fucking emphasizes to them even more how hungry they are to get better and better and improve. You see that practice come through in the off season, and then they come back, and everyone thinks they understand where that team sits in the overall like order of things in the division, but it turns out they went and switched it up in the off season. They got better, and now they're playing for a championship in the following season. That was how Romario did things. Very much so. You know, season 1, as sleepers they were. Obviously, they kind of combined with heavyweights, so it's a little bit different. Unless Los Wick goes and combines with some other team, right? It's very possible. But, you know, I fully expect that Los Wick, assuming they stick together, will continue to get better and better. And that next season, they will have improved leaps and bounds and will catch a lot of people off guard. All right. Now, moving on to the silver quarterfinals, silver A, that is. Where does this start? Nope, that's regular season. There it is. Okay. So, again, didn't get to cast either of these games at all. I don't believe I got much right. I mean, I picked Saab and Spicy to win. I thought maybe it's going to go 3 maps here, but I do recall saying, like, if it's a 2-0, Saab and Spicy, they're taking it. If it goes 3, it's a little more up in the air. But looks like, wow, what a close fucking game there. Holy shit. That Anzio game came down to the absolute wire. It's kind of depressing I didn't get to cast that. All right. So, Saab versus No-Go. I can tell you without looking, Saab would have picked Armory. They are very good at Armory. They're very good at Anzio too, though, so that ban kind of worked out for them overall. But 240 to 119 over No-Go on Armory there. Starting off, we've got a 141 to 39 score for Saab on their allied side of Armory. But look at those kills. They are identical. It looks like Saab had some more TKs and suicides, though, than No-Go did. That's kind of interesting to look at, right? 143 kills for each team, but as you can see on the Saab side, they had 6 extra deaths. So that is 6 TKs or suicides, and on the No-Go side, it was just 3. But the thing that really fucking matters is the 102 points that they won by. 40-point caps, so that's about 2.5 caps. Ish. Actually, almost exactly 2.5 caps. So, you know Saab, they will be able to execute ninjas. The teamwork is very much their friend. And it looks like that might have been the way that they were able to have a very similar overall kill line, but win by over 2 caps. So, on the No-Go side of things, top frag, Tony, of course. I didn't know whether Tony was going to be playing or not. As you can see right there, immediately an X Factor, leading the way with a 29 and 18 score. Not sure what class he ended up playing. Just looking at the lineup, though, I'm guessing he rifled. Spoon and Stark would be heavying, I would think. And then speaking of Spoon, 25 kills for him on the STG, 24 apiece for Matthew and War Within, 22 on Stark, and 19 for Ana. And on the Saab side, Toki is so good at this map. 29 kills for him on Allies, 29 kills for Manor on the Bar, 23 for Caleb on the Tommy, 22 for Nightmare on a Bar, 21 for Scotty on a Garand, and 19 for Kingyo on the other Garand. And then into the second half, so Saab did actually take this half as well, but again, so actually identical deaths this time. 1 less kill for the Saab side, but 19 points they win by. So actually 1 extra TK or suicide for No-Go. They won by 1 extra death, right? So 19-point victory on this half, and obviously an overall map victory to start things off for Saab. On the No-Go side of things, 30 for Stark on a Bar, 30 for Matthew, I assume on a Garand, 27 for Tony on a Garand, 27 for Spoon on a Garand, 20 for War Within on the Sniper, and 11 for Ana. Overall, pretty solid team effort there across the board. And then on the Saab side of things, King Yo dropping a big 34 with the Stas. You know, the value of King Yo on that third rifle for Saab can't be stated enough. In particular, his nades. The guy is very, very clever with the grenades that he throws. I've seen him throw some very fucking weird ones that, at first glance, you might think, like, what the fuck was that? But in fact, it was a calculated throw using arches to his advantage and stuff. Lots of very, very creative nades. And then, I'll still talk about that Anzio grenade he threw from the topper rope into the plaza cap, something that I had never personally seen. It's possible that it had been done in the past and I just forgot, but I don't recall seeing that before King Yo. 26 for Toki in second there. I think he top fragged overall. Unsurprising, Toki on Armory. 23 for Nightmare on the car. 22 for Caleb on an Unter. 21 for Manor on the other Unter. Double Untering. Box haul on this map. Very good idea. And then 18 for Scotty. Overall, Saab takes map 1, their map pick on Armory by 121 points. Now we move on to No-Go's map pick. Saab took this one 328 to 314, a 14-point win. That is a painful one, undoubtedly. I wanted to kind of like be ready to go switch to the Saab No-Go game, depending on how things went in the Over Bandits game. But then Over wins map 1, and then map 2 is very back and forth at first. So I just couldn't do it. But man, I wish I had got to see this map especially. So that was actually the second half because I saw some GGs. This is first half. Starting off on the Allied side is Saab, 158 to 138. They win by 20 points. No-Go actually outfrags them. Looks like there was 2 TKs on the Saab side and 4 TKs. Again, TKs or suicides on the No-Go side. So starting off with No-Go, you had 28 on Greg Spoon, 27 on Matthew, 24 and 22 for Tony, 23 and 20 for Stark, 19 and 20 for Anna, and 13 for War Within. Sniping that Axis side can be very, very painful depending on how things are going and what route you're at. And Saab certainly know how, because on Axis side sniping, either you're going Plaza and you're just kind of isolated in your own half of the map, or you're going Bridge, and if you're Axis and you got Bridge, the guys that are going to be coming at you for a while are not coming from the areas that you're dealing with as a sniper. They're going to be flanking you. They're going to be coming through meat. They're going to be coming up sewers. It's just a pain in the ass to deal with. I have certainly been there. And then on the Saab side of things, Nightmare with the top frag. 27 on a bar. 26 apiece for Caleb on a Garand and Manor on a bar. 25 and 19 for Toki on the sniper. 12 for Kingyo. 10 for Scotty. That was a 20-point win on the Allied side, which No-Go probably feeling very good about that, right? Like, you're going to the Allied side, you just got to make up 20 points. That is not too shabby at all. However, they only were able to make up 6 of those points, 176 to 170. Saab with 11 more kills. There was actually, okay, so 134 kills for Saab, but 144 deaths for No-Go, so probably some communication issues going on there in that half when things are getting hectic and you're really trying to go crazy to push and get the requisite points you need to win, because that is 10 TKs or suicides on the No-Go side of things for just 2 for Saab. But just coming up 14 points short when all is said and done. On the No-Go side, it is 26 and 17 for War Within, 23 for Tony, 21 for Stark, 19 for Matthew, 18 for Anna, and 16 for Spoon. And then on Saab, Nightmare with a 2-to-1 KD ratio, 33 and 16 on that car. As always, doing it big when it matters most. Manor, who loves this map and is very, very good at it, 27 and 21 in second. Toki at 25 and 15. Caleb, 21 kills on a heavy. 17 for Scotty going dubs, and 11 for Kingyo. All that matters in the end is that they won by 14 points. No-Go headed to the golf course early this season. A good season it was. Really, most of the time for No-Go was just a matter of who was there. They were a very, very threatening team if they had their best possible lineup in there. Just they weren't able to really get that as much as I'm sure they would have liked to. And it's No-Go. They'll be back, right? That I have no doubt about. For Saab, they punched their ticket to the semifinals to play against Goose, the undefeated Goose, looking to do something only been done 3 times before in all of KTP. Wait, 3 times? NSA, Clinic. Those are the only 2 that went undefeated wire to wire. That's what it is. This would be the 3rd time that a team would go undefeated wire to wire, win a championship. So that is what they're trying to do. Obviously, 4th time a team has been undefeated after the regular season. But then in the other Silver A quarterfinals, this one had quite a storyline. Spicy versus 3H. For Spicy, this was the first step in overcoming the teams that they have lost to in the finals. Spicy has been in the finals 3 straight seasons, right? The first team that they lost to is no longer a team, so irrelevant. Throw that out. Second team they lost to is Romario. Who was the last team they lost to last season in the finals? It was 3H. Who do they play in the first round of the playoffs? It's 3H. As you can see there, map 1 goes the way of Spicy, 171 to 104, so a 67-point win there on Thunder, which was their map pick. Is this first half? It is. So starting off on the Allied side for Spicy here, and keep track of what I was just saying before, because it'll come back up. So 128 to 132. 3H actually do outfrag here. They win the half 95 to 84. A very good start on Thunder. Again, I'm not sure. Maybe this version of Thunder is playing more Axis-sided, though, based on what we will come to find out. So, for 3H on their Axis side, 39 kills for Illusion, man. Illusion has not stopped fragging all season long. In particular, since coming to 3H, he has been one of the backbones for that team. Just a crazy half there on the car. 26 for Matt Rogers in there on, I'm guessing, an STG, a very impressive half. His heavy partner, Piff, as well, 22 and 19. 18 for Ian on a sniper. Defrag with 14. Johnny with 13. And on the Spicy side, did it actually go all the way through in order? It did. That scoreboard on the Spicy side is very appealing right there. So 26 for Dillard. 25 for Stamp, 24 for Laura, 23 for Die Life, 18 for Stealth, and 12 for Twist, all just straight down in order. You don't see that happen, all that. Just look at the 3H side. 22, 14, 13, 39, 26. Not one of those parts is in order. Very weird to see that, but unsurprising. Spicy down by 11 after their Allied side. Moving over to the Axis side, though, 87 to 9, a much more convincing half won there by Spicy, which is just making me think maybe more and more that this is an Axis-sided map now. So, for 3H, they got outfragged by 55 in this half. 8 TKs or suicides to only 3 for the Spicy side. Defrag had 24, 18 apiece for Johnny and Matt, 15 apiece for Piff and Illusion, and 14 for Ian. And then on the Spicy side, man, the dynamic rifle duo in the first and second spot, top fragging here. Die Life with 45 and 19. I talked about how much he always liked Donner and Susie and Lower Church in the past, and it looks like no different here on Thunder, because that's a crazy half. 28 for Dillard on a Stas. 27 and 9 for Stamp on a sniper rifle. A 3-to-1 KD ratio is just fucking nuts. And then 20 and 14 for Twist, 23 and 19 for Kevin. I missed every time I miss a guy with the fucking the highlighted part because it's their screenshot. Every time. And then 16 for Laura. So it was a 78-point win on this half, which more than erased the first half victory for 3H. Spicy take their map pick by, what was it exactly? 67 overall. You know, I mean, not that surprising, picking Thunder and winning it for Spicy. It is very much a team-based, rotation-based, like, put your shit on the line for the other 5 members of your team kind of map. That's exactly the kind of map that Spicy is going to excel at always. You know, and especially with, like, just how wide open mid is. You know, you got Die Life and Dillard just running around everywhere. Fucking who knows how many kills at a time. With 45 and 19 half, I'm sure Matt was getting like 4 and 5 kills at a time over and over again. That right there, 45, you know, if you have Matt around closer to everybody else here, like 28, 29, 30, maybe 3H is able to break through, get mid back, and hold it for a while, and make this thing come out better for them. But it just seems like Matt was an unbreakable wall on the defense for mid. Like, you can't get through Lower Church, you can't get through Rubble. Matt Fazana's there waiting for you with the car to just shoot you to death. Spicy takes the map 1, their map pick. 1-0, heading to map 2, 3H's pick. It's Lennon. Banking on the fraggers of 3H on this Lennon map to be able to break things open a little bit, make it a little more chaotic, and try to thrive in that chaos. But Spicy came ready to go, and they win this map 477 to 315. Which half was which? I can't tell. So if it was their map pick, Spicy would get to pick the half. I'm just going to assume that this is first half. Kevin probably put it in order. So, starting off, Allied side, obviously generally very much more Allied-sided map. Spicy win 283 to 79, about 104-point win, or 204-point win, sorry. Not bad at all. 60-point cap outs, right? So it's like a 3.5 cap game. They had 18 more kills. So on the 3H side, of course, Illusion, 34 kills, top fragging. 29 for Piff on an STG. Matt right there with 26 on the other STG. Johnny with 25 on a car. Defrag and Ian both with 19 going long. And then on the Spicy side, once again, Die Life, 36 kills on a Garand there. And then the Heavies, 33 for Kevin immediately, 27 for Twist, the Heavy team, doing great to deal with the Modgers and Piff Heavy team in Apartments. That was going to be the biggest obstacle with how important Apartments is on Lennon. And Twist and Kevin were able to pass that test with flying colors here. Stamp 28 and 15. That's a great sniper half on Lennon, and one that I almost never am able to even come close to. And then 27 for Luke and 19 for Laura going long. So it was a 204 point deficit to make up. Very doable on an Allied side, but Spicy was able to crack open a few caps. That's really the difference right here, right? It was the caps they were able to get on their Axis side. On Axis side, you end up down to your last flag a lot. The difference maker between the teams that win these maps and on Lennon and the ones that lose them is turning those defensive postures into an offensive opportunity. You know, you get a few kills or all the kills on your last flag. You're fanning out through and immediately getting the double caps, immediately establishing forward map positioning and map control, and not just falling into the trap of like, hey, you know, like we did just kill a bunch of people, but like, what if there's another one? Spicy, good communication, good understanding of each other, and being able to take advantage of those situations where, I mean, we saw it on Halley with them too. Down to the last flag, somebody comes up clutch. It's not just like, all right, settle and reset. It is, we came up clutch, we got 4 kills, we got 5 kills. Go get a double cap. Go get both double caps. You go here, you go here. Take the map back right now, and then turning it into a cap out, which I imagine is how things went down here. 236 to 194. 3H win the half by 42. But obviously that's not enough to make up the 200-point deficit. Spicy did outfrag by 4. Again, in this situation, I would guess that a lot of it came in defending their last flag. On the 3H side, though, Illusion, one more stellar half to finish off this run with 3H. 42 kills on the Garand. Just, one of the best overall middle-of-the-season pickups right there, if not the best, was Illusion. Get 3H some more time playing together before September or August, whenever the next season is, and I suspect they will be back with the vengeance with him on the roster from the start. As that was their biggest problem, right? It was having a consistent roster. People weren't able to show up a lot of the time. Once Illusion came in, he was always there. He was a stalwart for that lineup. Always there, putting up good numbers, and generally speaking, the rest of the lineup did level out pretty decently there. There wasn't a whole lot of missing players for the remainder of the matches once Illusion came on board. Johnny with 25. Oh, this is one of those games. 42, 25, 24, 24, 23, 21. Huh. So it was coincidental, too. Well, yeah. Of course. But 25 on Johnny, 24 on both Modgers and Piff in apartments, 23 for Ian, and 21 for Defrag. This is another descending order screenshot. You love to see it when it's nice and perfect going down. And on the spicy side of things, 37 for Kevin on the STG. That is a massive difference maker. Axis side, heavying in apartments, getting 37 kills, taking the fight to the bars. That's another big way to fucking win on Lennon, right? 34 for Luke on a car, 30 for Matt on the other car, 25 for Stamp, 18 for Laura, 19 for Twist. Almost another descending order screenshot there. But most importantly, Spicy do prevail in the end. Overall, they held on just enough on their Axis side, a tough Axis side there, obviously, and were able to keep that score differential the way it was. About 162 points overall. Spicy vanquish the first ghost of Christmas past, as 3H beat them in the finals last season. What do Spicy get as their reward for vanquishing that enemy? They get to go play against the team they lost to in the previous final. So this is a very, very fun little storyline here on the silver side of things for Spicy. If this were a movie, you'd have to say they're the team of destiny at this point, right? 3 straight finals, 3 straight losses in the finals. They come into this season in the first round. They get to go play against the team that last beat them in the finals. They take them out in 2, and then they get to go play against the previous loss in the semifinals. And then all they would have to do in the finals is knock off either Saab, who have been playing maybe the best DOD of anyone in silver for the last 6 weeks, as they tend to do. Saab, for whatever reason, always a little bit slow starts, but then in the second half, headed into the playoffs, they always seem to really get going. Or Goose, who haven't lost at all. So a very, very tough uphill battle, obviously starting with Romario in the next semifinal. The team that beat Spicy in the finals of Season 3 in the Silver B or Bronze, I forget which one it was at the time, finals, but regardless, it's a very, very cool little storyline here for Spicy in the way that they might be able to sort of just take out each one of the teams that had beat them in finals past on their way to one more final and trying to break through and finish it off this time. So, very, very fun. How long has this been going? Oh, no. I'm so far behind schedule. Usually I try to be done with the recap after about an hour, but these are all best of 3s, so it's an hour in, and I still have to do 2 gold matches. Alright, I'm going to try to burn through our game here real quick since I was in the game. So it was Thunder, Chilled and Skilled, best of 3, Thunder, 2-0 wins this game. Chilled and Skilled did not have Bs for this game, which certainly makes a big difference, right? But starting off, it was Harrington. This was Chilled and Skilled's pick for sure. So first half, I think this was first half. Yeah, this was first half. So, Thunder, 91-86, win their Axis side. The kill differential was plus 16 for Thunder. On the Chilled and Skilled side, 29 kills for Leo on a Garand, 28 for William on a bar, 27 for Ben on a sniper, 26 for PB on a Garand, 21 for Raven on another Garand, and 16 for Chi on the other bar. On the Thunder side of things, it was 33 for Ryan Emo on an Unter going long, 30 for Toxinator on a car Mountain, 29 for Yagoon on a sniper, 29 and 32, just going all in. 26 for J-Rod on a Stas long, 24 for Jules on that heavy going mountain, and then 21 for Dorito on the car going mid. So this was obviously a very back and forth half. Not many cap outs. Both teams did a pretty good job of defending when shit got cold for them. 91-86, 5 points. Obviously very optimal for an Axis side Harrington. So we're feeling good going into our Allied side after that. We had a couple of dicey situations. I know once Leo killed 4 of us at sandbag spawn, but luckily both of our long players were still alive at our 2 to hold on to that last flag. I know I had one point where I had to kill 2 guys going to try to jump for our last flag. This game could have easily gone back in the other direction with just a little bit of bad luck on our side or good luck on their side. But we win by 5 points there. And then head into the Allied side. So it was 231 to 44, about a 190-ish point win for us on our Allied side, which is about what you want, right? 202 kills there. We did break the 200 kill mark again, which is something always worth noting because it doesn't happen that much. Harrington is a good map for it, though. I would guess out of all the times there's been 200 kill totals, Harrington makes up like 75% of them. For the Children Skilled side of things, Ben with 30 kills there on the Axis side sniping, Justin with 27, 22 apiece for both Leo and William, and 19 apiece for both Chi and Raven. And then on the Thunder side, a big 42 there from Dorito, vintage Brian Deruta there, 37 on Toxinator with another Garand, 36 for J-Rod there, also on a Garand, 33 for both Jules and me, and then Ryan, 21 and 18. Not a whole lot of kills left for him to get at that point. But we take the first map, Harrington, 322 to 130. At this point, Raven no longer able to play, but Ben Riopel able to step in, getting home from hockey, 10 Eastern, able to just jump right in for Railroad 2. And I know we have in the past in playing Ben on Railroad 2, he has shit on us a couple times, specifically with Chilled last season, I believe it was. So that was not exciting for us. But Thunder map pick here, Railroad 2. First half, Axis side, 104 to 76 in favor of Thunder, about a 28-point lead, 9 kill lead there. Looking at the deaths, so 2 TK suicides for Children Skilled, 1 for us. I would guess that it was me. I think I TK'd somebody. No, that was a different game. I don't know who the TK was. Yeah, no, it wasn't me. So, on the Children Skilled side, 28 for William there on the bar. They were crazy in apartments, man. It seemed like they had 4 guys in their Allied side apartments a lot of the time. It was very tough to deal with. I had to basically not go into the Axis Law for the majority of this half because they were just everywhere. But 28 for William, 27 for Ben, 25 for Leo, 24 for Chi, 19 for Ben Sane, 17 for Justin, and then for Thunder it was 31 for J-Rod, Stossing 4-way, which is a madman thing to do. 26 for Ryan Emo, Untering Train, 26 for Dorito Carring Apartments, 25 for Tox Carring Long, 21 for Yagoon, Sniping Train Car basically, and then Jules with 20 STGing and Apartments. I'm trying to make up how much time I've lost in this game. I'm trying to just blow through it. And then Allied side, second half here, 154 to 18. Thunder takes the match, or the map, and the overall series. Kills 198. It actually almost got to 200 there, to 123. On the Children Skilled side, William again there, 29 kills. I forget if he was heavying or if he was carring. I want to say he was definitely carring at some point. And then 21 for Ben Sane, 20 for Justin, 20 for Leo, 17 for Chi, 16 for Ben. And then on the Thunder side of things, 42 for J-Rod. Jesus, I didn't even realize he had that many kills. 37 for Jules on a bar. 33 for Dorito. 31 for Yagoon. 29 for Toxinator. And 26 for Omenair on the bar. Bottom fragging there. Way to go, Omenair. But yeah. Good game to Children Skilled. This was obviously the way the scheduling worked out. Unfortunate with no Bees. Bees, one of the 2 or 3 best players on Children Skilled easily. And certainly at times the absolute definite best, right? Bees very capable of going off and making things just crazy. If Bees is there, these games are much, much closer and could go either way. But Thunder win the series 2-0. They go forth to the finals where they will be waiting for Bandits, as we can see. I mean, I don't know why I buried the lead there, but we saw this game. I casted it. It was Lennon, Anzio, Harrington. Lennon was Bandits' pick. Anzio was Over's pick. They stole each other's map picks. Again, this has been very common this season. How much time did I make up? Let's see. So that was about a 5-minute recap there, which was the point. I don't need to butter my own team up here, right? They're not even watching this. I could have just said none of them had any kills. None of them would know. So realistically, I could have just recapped that from the Chilton skills side and probably saved another minute or something. But starting off here on Lennon, I believe this is the first half. So Bandits pick. And I mean, heading into the series, it was kind of like I think Bandits is favored on every map. But at the same time, Over is still good at all these maps. To me, it was like, if it goes to a third map, Bandits will win because Bandits is too good on Harrington. That was my opinion. Both the first two maps, though, coin flips, right? You gotta favor Bandits. They're the best team in the league. But Over, very, very adept at both Anzio and Lennon. We just saw it last week against Grey Hair Mafia. Well, sorry, 2 weeks ago now. Last week at the time. And here's the other thing, right? That this is, to me, the big story out of this. Over was missing 4 of their best players, right? Nick not able to play, suspended because of Moss. Till, who had just top fragged the previous week for them against Grey Hair Mafia, not there. Caffrey, best heavy on the team, one of the best heavies in the league, not there. Devin, like a guy who is going to get 60 kills a game on any class you give him, not there. So Over, very short-handed here, very much cobbled together. You got Chi in as the 6th, had to get a ringer. It was like, Bandits is probably going to win this thing because Over is so short-handed. And that would have been completely understandable. And if you're Over, it's like, just put in a good effort. Over said, fuck that. And Over came out and won on Bandits' map pick, a map that I felt Bandits was near unbeatable on. This was crazy game. Right off the bat, first half, Allied side, Bandits win 246 to 124. They do get out fragged in the process. TKs were minimal for each team, but for Bandits on their Allied side, Milo, of course, top fragging with the bar, followed by Taylor with the other bar. 35 and 28 were the two respective there. Then Justin Lynch, of course, maybe the MVP of the league this season. I believe the best statistical player. I guess it comes down to the debate of what does the MVP mean, right? Is it the best statistical player? Is it the player that a team is most fucked without? I think it's pretty tough. If you're going with that direction, like it's got to be a hard carry player, it's tough to give it to Bandits or Thunder, like a player from either of those teams, because there's so many good players on both teams, right? But to me, like, Justin, I think, has the best case for MVP here. Like, just a crazy statistical season for him. Not just sniping, also rifled, also thirded, also heavied, pretty much top fragged every game. No different here. He was the third top fragger, sniping on fucking Lennon. Again, mind-boggling to me how anyone gets kills on Lennon with the sniper. 25 for Timo, 23 for CK. That is a formidable well team. And then Gall with 16, stuck going long. Arguably the worst route in the game. Yeah, I'm saying it. There's just nothing to do after you get the flag. It's just a bummer. You just get naded into piss. On Axis side, you get pushed up to swing. Guess what? There's a guy whose head, like this is the little fencing. Like this is his little head right here. It's just a little speck. Oh, I hit him. I did 2 damage with my sniper rifle. Like, it's just pointless. There's nothing to do. So your options are sit in the loft and hit them through things while they peek swing. And then on Allied side, try to push up to long steps and out, get naded 7 times. I hate it. For the Over side of things, though, this is the big story, right? 34 once again for Sokka, man. To me, if Over had found a way to win this series, like, Sokka deserves MVP votes for the season because whenever he played, Over was so scary. Missing so many things here. So many important pieces of that team. And Sokka, both these last 2 series, has been an absolute fucking god. Even regardless of them winning. Like, you gotta, if there was a voting committee for the MVP here, Sokka would deserve some MVP votes for the performances he just had across these 6 playoff maps. Just absolutely absurd. And really shows what his value is to that team, because they were missing so many other pieces that you might think of before you think of how important Saka is. But Saka, really, like, the team seems to run around how good Saka plays. 31 on SC as well. I swear to God, every life in this game, SC had a 3K. Certainly on this half especially. It was just like SC, 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 STG, car, STG, STG, bar, 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 bar. Every single life, it was a 3K. Very nice half for him there. Going up against Taylor and Milo, right? That is the scariest heavy team you're going to face on Lennon, and SC went out there and put up 31 kills with the STG. Then Mata, 28 and 25 on a sniper on Lennon on Axis side. What the fuck? Mata probably, I think, had his best performance of the season in this series as well. Another very, very big performance from him. 26 for 50, also going long. Just a great, great long team there. Both guys had big performances. 22 for Kum and 16 for Chi. So it was a 122-point deficit after that first half. Now, on to the second half. Over's Allied side, obviously, here's what happened in this game, right? I wrote the scores down in the top left, and they were correct. You know, I had that, 246 to 124. But then in my head, and what I started saying aloud, too, and nobody, like, I was saying it over and over again, but nobody corrected it at the time. I kept saying it was, 246 to 142? So I dyslexia the two numbers. 124 turned into 142. So I just, everything was totally thrown off. And at the time, I had thought, so that actually is like worse, right? Because technically, that would mean over won by even more? I don't know. I fucked up somehow, and I thought that over lost by 2 points. In fact, over won by 14 points. But I fucked up. I wrote everything down right, and then I was saying the wrong numbers or something during the half. But here we go. 268 to 132, so it was a 136-point win that half. Obviously, that is 14 more than 112 or 122. Stupid Corey. So, as you can see kill-wise there, very convincing half for over here on Allies. 26, okay, 26. In my head it was 36. 26, fuck math. Not that convincing, but 3 TK suicides apiece. You know, very good fundamental DOD here across the board. So on the Axis side for Bandits, once again, Milo, 33 kills there. What do you expect? It's Milo on Lennon. 30 for Colin, carring well. Again, what do you expect? 25, Justin is third top fragging again with the sniper rifle on Lennon. I don't understand. Just crazy. Then Taylor with 22, 19 apiece for Gall and for CK, going long and well respectively. And then on the over side, 36 for SC. They needed one of their heavies to do something like that. It was just so imperative going up against Taylor and Milo on what I would say is, if not their best map, one of their 2 best maps. Guys that are just so good at it, so good together at it. They needed one of their heavies to have a big game-breaking performance like that. And he got 36, Chi got 31, 67 kills between the two of them, both very positive KD ratios. Just did an exemplary job on how to heavy apartments together. 36 for SC, 34 for none other than Saka. Saka with the top frag here, 4 over, carrying them on a very, very tough map against Bandits. 31 for Chi, as I said. 30 for Kum. That Saka Kum well team really made things difficult for both the rifles of Bandits and their heavy team going apartments. Just constantly being up in their face in Blue Room and Underpass, catching them off guard with weird cadences and timings. You know, like down to their last flag and a guy sneaks through into Underpass, grabs a couple kills, unexpectedly, boom, they got well. Just really, really smart play by both Saka and Kum, hitting crazy shots left and right. And then 23 for 50 and 20 for Mata on long. That's what I generally expect to see out of a long team, right? Like, none of this, both guys combined had 60 kills. I don't know how how long teams can do that, man. I don't know how snipers ever get 20 kills on Lennon going long. It just feels like there's nowhere to go. I guess maybe you just have to go in apartments sometimes on Allies and on Axis. Same thing. You just have to go into apartments, but not necessarily push straight into that birdcage peak coming. I don't know, man. I just suck at this map now without being able to push straight up to Swing Door on Axis and straight up to L Hall on Allies. I don't know. The Carbine is my friend. We've all seen it multiple times. I love the Carbine on this map now because it's the only way I can get kills is having those grenades. But moral of the story is overtakes Bandits map pick of Lennon by 14 points while missing 4 of their best players. I mean, this was just maybe like the craziest single performance of the year, right? There was crazy fucking games all over the place. That Over versus Grey Hair Mafia game in the previous week, batshit from wire to wire. But when it comes to just heart, raw fucking heart and soul, Over winning this map against Bandits, Lennon missing 4 of their best players is just gotta be like the most fucking gutsy performance of the season, if not in KTP period history. That was nuts. That really just like, it was like, what the fuck is going to happen in the rest of this series now? To me, Over really needed to win Anzio, though. Like, they needed to make this thing 2-0, because if it got to Harrington, Bandits, man, like, just nobody wants to play that team on Harrington. It's just like NSA and T3 all over again. They are just too much to deal with on that map. So, just a little foreshadowing, obviously. Map 2 is Anzio. This is Over's map pick. Again, though, to me, this map veto was pretty favorable to Bandits overall. But at the same time, Over no slouch on any of the maps. It's just Bandits so good at Harrington. Lennon and Anzio were really the toss-ups that could have gone Over's way. So, first half of Anzio, 267 to 89, about a 180-point lead for Bandits after their allied side, 11-kill lead there. On the Over side of things, once again, man, Saka, 36, Jesus fuck, 26 for Travis on Astas, 25 for Kumkum on the other car, 24 for SC. I think for a lot of people, I certainly know I've heard a couple times, like, who is SC? Fucking SC is a great heavy from Europe, man. Like, you never seen Mr. Steel Hacker 3? You never seen SC Frags or Die? Like, come on, go watch some DOD movies, people. Fuck. 19 kills for Mata, 16 for Chi, and then on the Bandit side, 33 for Milo, again leading the way. 29 for Justin, of course, in second. 28 for Taylor in third. That's the thing with this game. The story was really that Plaza side of things. In this half, it's Justin, Taylor, and Milo. On Axis half, it was Gall, Taylor, and Milo. If you didn't already know how good a double windows car Andrew is, I can tell you I taught him a lot of the stuff he does in double windows. And just think about the HSB versus DGF TPG finals where Gall gets the ace, and he does. They made this map unwinnable for Over with the way that they played in Plaza. This half, they just locked it down really well, controlled street. Justin was all over the place, getting picks, not dying, just utterly survivability all across the board for him. And then, of course, Taylor and Milo are just going to grind you down to a nub. 27 for Gall, going bridge with the Garand. 25 for CK, doing the same, and 15 for Timo. Then it goes to the Axis side, so it was that 180-point lead. So on the Allied side, Over does win, but here's where things went a little south. So Over controlling the map overall, right? In fact, quite a bit of the time, they had bridge, and they had street, and they were at the Axis 1, or had it. The bridge team was just all over the place. Saka had 33. He, in particular, was just getting kill after kill. I mean, what a fucking 2 series for Saka. Again, I say. Here's what happened, though. Gall, Milo, and Taylor constantly on this Axis side were pushing. They would have street. They would either push through sewers or push through Ivy or push straight through the cap, whatever was going on. And then they would be at the 1, the Allied 1, in pizza, in jump window, in rope, in grass, in fruit, everywhere, behind enemy lines. Over would look like, oh, are they about to get a cap out? All they have to do is get Plaza. And then all of a sudden, no. Milo's picking off a spawn wave at the Allies 1. Taylor's picking off a spawn wave at the Allies 1. Gall is picking off a spawn wave at the Allies 1. Just making it impossible for Over to go get Plaza unless they want to take the guys who are pushed up holding on to all the other flags and rotate them back around, which then obviously opens up a massive hole on the other side of the map. It's just very, very, very smart team play by the Bandit side of things. It made it impossible. Like, the only way Over was going to get the cap-outs they needed was to hit very, very near impossible insta-kills on those guys that were pushed up at their 1, or find insane ways to nade them, but, like, what are you going to nade? There's 52 spots they can be in on your last flag. They might not even be there anymore. They might be up at your beach spawn. They might be in your jump window. They might have fallen all the way back to Pizza or Church Tower. It's so hard to deal with, and it happened to us against Bandits too. We were in control on our allied side. We just had to get Plaza, and then all of a sudden Milo had snuck through. He got up to our 1. Right when we were sending people over to grab that Plaza side of things, boom, Milo's there to kill 2 or 3 of us, and then the respawn has to go try to kill him, and then somebody's coming back, and now, like, oh wait, the guys who were pushed up died, so now Bridge is going to go down. You know, we're sending people over here. By that time, they have a spawn wave that is filtered through Plaza. It just makes it so hard to deal with, and that was really what won this map for Bandits. Over looked excellent on the Allied side. It looked like they were maybe going to pull this thing off. They did still win their Allied side, just not by 180 points, obviously. That was really the key to victory here for Bandits, was the work that the Plaza team put in, making it messy, making it impossible to keep track of, and just constantly getting behind enemy lines and cutting off entire spawn waves and entire rotations that were going to be there to try to finish off the full cap. So for Over, 33 on Sokka, 26 for SC, 24 for Kum, 23 for Travis, 20 for Chi, 12 for Mata, and on the Bandit side of things, CK with 30, a 30 and 30 half, that's very CK of him, 30 and 16 for Taylor, 28 for Gall, 21 for Justin, 21 for Timo, 19 for Milo, and Over gives up their map pick there. Bandits take the win by, what's ended up being about 170, 168. Really, but like that scoreline is a little bit deceiving because Over was like this close so many times to getting that next cap out, which starts the clock again, getting the next cap out, but Bandits was just not going to give it up, man. Like the way the Plaza team understands how to win on Anzio was just, it was impossible to deal with. Unless they went into that game with a game plan to deal with that specifically, there was going to be no way to just fucking call on the fly how to deal with 3 of the top players in DOD just shitting on spawn waves at the beach, right? So it goes to Harrington, and as I alluded to, Bandits are just gods on this map. This was the biggest blowout of the series, 501 to 105. Bandits were just on fire at this point. They had clearly gotten very warmed up and were just hitting every fucking shot. They're so hard to deal with, even if they're not all hitting every shot. Kill totals here in a 316 to 51 Allied side for Bandits, 195 to 147. Almost break that 200 kill mark. So for Over, again though, 32 kills on SC, 28 kills on Sokka. Great series for both of them. 4 for Mata, 23 for Travis, 21 for Kum, 19 for Chi. On the other side, the big story of this game was CK. He had 45 and 30 on Allies, just dropping bombs all over the place. Literally, they were grenades. 34 for Milo, 31 for Taylor. They also, as always, had a great game together. 28 for Gall. 32 for Justin. I skipped again him because it was 34 for Milo, 32 for Justin, 31 for Taylor, 28 for Gall, 25 for Timo. It looks like everybody went positive in this half, just an exemplary Allied side Harrington there for Bandits. And then in the final half of this series, Axis side, Bandits take it 185 to 54, about 131 point victory there. They did break the 200 kill mark this time, about a 35 kill differential. Mata had a great half here, 34 kills on the sniper, Chi with 30, SC with 28, Kum 27, Sokka 26, 50, 24. That's a lot of kills still, right? 170 kills is a lot. but the other team had 204, so like it doesn't look like as much. 47 for CK. He had 92 and 60 was his overall score in this map. It's a lot of kills and a lot of deaths too, really, right? 37 for Milo on the Unt. At one point, both Milo and Taylor had Unters, which just was crazy. Just the headshots they were hitting with those Unters. 36 and 22 for Justin on Axis side, a crazy Axis sniper hap. 33 for Colin with the Stas. 28 for Andrew on a car, and 23 for Taylor on the other heavy. Bandits pull out in the end after giving up their map pick on Lennon. They win the series 2-1, a reverse sweep, and unsurprisingly to all who were there at the start, Bandits punched their ticket to the finals. That is just a stacked the Gills team. You know, even if they don't run this lineup, like you take somebody out, you're putting in Kaboom, you're putting in Element, you're putting in Arachnid. Like, it's just endless stream of all-star players on this Bandits roster. So that does it for the recap, which took me, wow, it's an hour and 25 minutes. We have predictions to do still. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into it. We're starting off with Silver B Finals, okay? We're just going to power through this. This is not going to be a 3-hour episode. It's not going to be a 3-hour episode, I assure you. Not going to be a 3-hour episode, Yagoon. It's not. All right, so in the Silver B Finals, maybe I shouldn't have switched the windows necessarily at this point. You know, let's just add another 30 seconds, Corey, by fucking around with windows. Okay, starting off right away, Silver B Finals. So, here we have the pick ban, right? HRG versus Late Arrivals. I really like this matchup. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. It's unclear when they're playing. I know for a fact Saab and Goose will play in the afternoon, so I will get to cast that. Beyond that, it doesn't look like a whole lot of casting is going to be had by me this weekend. Again, it's unfortunate because we always end up playing our games like default time on Sundays. But HRG bans Lennon. You know, I think that's a pretty good choice. Later Rivals ban Anzio. Again, I think that's a pretty good choice with the weapons HRG has. HRG picks Harrington. I think that's actually not bad for either team. Same with Railroad 2 pick by Later Rivals. Getting rid of Armory. Again, an understandable one. Getting rid of Saints. At that point, it's like 3 interesting maps, right? 3 like map control maps where there's like a big central double cap, a bridge, whatever. On Thunder, it's not a bridge, it's a tank. Thunder is what remains for the third map, but 3 very similar maps. Armory and Saints, just a little bit less played than Thunder has been overall, so it ends up being the map out of the 3 that there's the most hours and reps on here, right? You know, that's a pretty fun little series there. If each team takes their map pick or steal each other's map pick, as has happened so often, a Thunder third map could be very, very intense. Like, just think about how much every single mid-cap means in a best-of-3 third map final on Thunder 2. Every nade becomes that much more important. Every decision on when to go for the cap becomes that much more important. The new mid-house setup becomes that much more important. Everything gets magnified that much more when it comes down to a third map. I really hope it does. Again, who knows? It doesn't seem like I'll get to cast it because I'm guessing it'll be default time. Somebody needs to cast it. Unfortunate thing is 2 finals going on at the same time. Just, you know, not optimal here. I don't know. We'll see what happens because it doesn't say when they're playing. I have no idea. It looks like 8:30 we're supposed to start at. Yeah. So if they're starting anytime around that time, there's crossover. But maybe they're starting earlier. Maybe they're not playing until Monday. Unclear. Hopefully Blender will be around. Maybe Alapex. You never know. But hopefully somebody will cast both the games. Both the finals that are going on. But getting into... So I'm just going to pull up the previous week's screenshots here. Rather than looking at like their rosters and going, these are the 12 players they have, and like these are the 6 that might play. This is what the roster was for HRG. This is a very good roster for HRG. Storm on the sniper, big X factor. you have Storm immediately, boom, that's one notch in the win conditions. You have Nitrox on a rifle, boom, same thing. Nick on the heavy has been great. Mike on a car has always been great. And then Arg on either other rifle, right? And then G on the other heavy. This team has a lot of weapons and guys who are very capable of taking over a game at a moment's notice. And the same can obviously be said for late arrivals. Now, with late arrivals, the big three, right? You look at Secretly, Casino, and Nightmares. As you can see, just looking at this screenshot here, Nightmares 38, Secretly 34, Casino. But if I just switch over to this half, Casino with 43, Nightmares 31, Secretly 37, right? Those are the big three. And then you got Bo on the other heavy, a Zilla on the sniper, and Bullet on the third rifle. The lineup with Casino and Secretly and Nightmares in there, it's so much frag power between those three guys. If they're having a good game, then they're going to be tough to beat, period. Because Secretly and Casino, when they have a good game, might have 160 kills between the two of them on that map. And then Nightmares is probably going to have another 65 to 70. That's a lot of kills. It's like 230 kills between three guys across two halves, right? 200 kills in one half by 6 players is nearly unheard of. So, starting off with the first map, we've got Harrington. Now, Late Arrivals has had good success on Harrington in the past. Even earlier this season, in a loss to 3H, that's still a tough fucking matchup on Harrington. Like 3H, good on Harrington. Late Arrivals, they looked like they had a really good core understanding of how to win on Harrington. Secretly had like 80 kills in that game. We just saw Casino had like 75 on Harrington against M1. Harrington, while it is the HRG pick, it is a 50-50. I actually think both maps are pretty 50-50, where either team could take those maps. Obviously a big battle for Harrington comes down to middle. The mountain side of things, if you can control it, it makes things much easier in middle always, right? When you, as a mid player, but you don't have to worry about ladder ever, life is good, right? I mean, to me, sometimes when I'm in mid and we have mid, I like when ladder goes down because I get something to shoot at then, but that's just me being an idiot. Really, you want to control ladder. Nightmares and Bo, very, very good heavy team. Bo a little more passive, Nightmares a little more, in the face, ground it and pound it kind of player. And then for G and Head like a whole, kind of the same dynamic there. That'll be a big one because if either team can establish a consistent stream of ladder control, that might be enough to turn the tide on what's going on in mid. For HRG, whether it's Nitrox and Storm or Mike and Storm or Arg and Storm or like 4 guys, like mid, oftentimes it's like 3-on-3 now, which I hate. And I wish that, at very least, some of the nades would get patched out because it's just crazy being able to nade over the entire fucking map. And being able to nade from, like, spawn into mid, like, that's just crazy. And is a big reason why it's so allied-sided. Long, oftentimes, ends up a 1v1 route now, like, from a default stance, right? Certainly when shit gets dicey, you'll see teams having to flood long to hold it as their last flag, which can then turn into flanks and stuff like that. But overall, it's like such a toss-up here. Azilla versus Storm is a fun sniper matchup. Storm has just looked unstoppable. I think that Storm in mid is the biggest factor here for HRG. Storm going to have to try to lock down Casino and Secretly and Azilla potentially. That might be 3 guys in mid, and that is a hell of a 3-headed monster to have to deal with. So not only Storm having a good game, but whoever else goes mid with them needs to have a good game in support, needs to be throwing good nades, because if you can take out the late arrivals players without having to peek them, that is certainly optimal, right? Because that's a guaranteed battle one. If you throw a nade without peeking and it blows the guy up, that means you win. And then if you peek them, it's 50-50. Who hits the shot, you don't know. But if your nades are on point and you're just blowing up guys' fucking faces without ever seeing them, then Boom. I think that is a very important thing for HRG here. HRG need to feel very confident in the nades they're throwing. Obviously this map is very chaotic, and I think that is helpful for both teams because they have really like high pace play style, fragging style players who can thrive in the chaos of these situations. On Harrington, for late arrivals, it's just having those big guys get out there and put up the numbers that they always put up. If you get a weird off game here on Harrington from a Secretly or from a Casino, that could be enough to turn things in the direction of HRG. But just the same thing, like if all three of those guys go out there, Secretly, Casino, and Nightmares, and do what they just did last week and average like 35 kills a half, I don't see how HRG can overcome that. To me, Harrington is very 50-50. I think I would favor late arrivals a little bit more because of potentially having both Casino and Secretly in mid a lot of the time. It's very dependent on how hot of a day these guys have, right? Historically speaking, though, they don't have very many bad halves, so you gotta figure it's very highly likely that they'll come to play and do it well, but you just never know. It's a final. The pressure is on a little bit. Even though we're not playing for anything but bragging rights here, you still get nervous in playoff games. You still get extra nervous in finals games. It's just the nature of competitive anything. That's why we do it. It's an adrenaline rush. It's fun. So will that pressure get to anybody a little more than anybody else? On the HRG side, you have boatloads of experience with the Gandhis, with the Head Like a Holes, with Storm, with Nitrox. These guys have played in finals before. They've been here millions and millions of times. Them, I feel, they're less likely to have that pressure get to them. Obviously, on the late arrival side, though, you do have a lot of that same experience coming out of Bullet, coming out of Casino, Secretly in other games, right? He's been here before. A lot of this could just come down to the mental fortitude to be able to deal with the pressure of a finals best of 3. When it comes to Harrington, it's a coin flip. I'd love to say I think this is going to go 3 games, because that would be really fun. I think that the more likely scenario, if it goes 3 games, is that each team steals the map pick. I feel like later rivals, Secretly and Casino and Azilla in mid, Bullet on the rotate. He's always going to have good timing. He's going to throw good nades. He's going to be directing traffic well. I think that I favor them on Harrington. But map 2 is Railroad 2. I think that I favor HRG a little more on Railroad 2. Storm on Railroad 2, not as much shit to deal with, where he's going to be able to, I think, control the pace of play a little bit more because he's not having to dodge 500 grenades and deal with 6 guys shooting at him from 12 different directions. Mike going 4-way, going ticket, I think he can really control the pace of play in mid in those spots. He's done it 1,000 times before. And then Nitrox, is he going long? Is he going apartments? Is he going 4-way? And maybe Mike's going apartments. Regardless, I actually think that I like HRG to win Railroad 2 and late arrivals to win Harrington, interestingly enough, as the common denominator has been throughout the playoffs this season, teams stealing the other team's map pick. To me, that is actually the most likely scenario here, is Harrington goes the way of late arrivals just due to overwhelming fucking presence in mid by Casino and Secretly and Azilla. And then on HRG's side for Railroad 2, Storm being able to really control that main area of the map in mid without having too much pressure applied to him. Obviously, they're going to need to keep apartments as clean as possible on Axis side, because if he's just getting shot from balcony and he's constantly having to look at balcony, he's not going to be able to do much damage on the mid and sniper loft side and white step side of things. But if you can get somebody reasonably consistent in apartments, locking it down, not letting them get up to balcony to make problematic situations for Storm, I think that's where HRG can take it. It looked like ARG had a pretty good time in train. Nick, I'm assuming having in apartments there. I'm not positive about that though, right? Because you have ARG with an Unter, but then you also have both Nick and G on STG. So I'm not sure what the setup is here for HRG on Railroad 2. I guess we'll see. But yeah, that's how I think it's going to go down. I actually think they're going to take each other's map picks. So you're going to see Harrington go the way of late arrivals. You're going to see Railroad 2 go the way of HRG, and then you're going to Thunder 2, which is very interesting for a third map. I kind of hope this happens, to see weird maps getting played as a third map in a best-of-3 final is very cool to me. So HRG did have a tough time against Loswick on Thunder, right off the bat, right? Storm is going to have a field day on a map like Thunder, always. It's about how everybody else deals with that map and the sort of upsides and downsides of it. It looks like ARG had a pretty good game on Thunder. Certainly on his Axis side, the Bunker team looked very good on Thunder, on Allied side especially. Nitrox had a good game. That's going to be really, I think, what it comes down to for HRG, because I can assure you that Casino and Secretly will be going off in middle on Thunder. You need the rifles to be there in support of Storm for HRG and have big games. Nitrox, Mike, and ARG, if those guys can have good games in mid on Thunder, then HRG can win that. They just have to be able to lock down Secretly and Casino. You can't let them run wild and just be consistently getting pushed to your side of the map, getting up in Susie, getting into Lower Church, especially on Axis side. Like, it's so hard to clear that out. Unless they can find a way to consistently clear out Lower Church, which it's very possible, right? Like with nades, with double peaks against a bolt action rifle. Like, these are ways to kind of get around that, but it's easier said than done. The Casino and Secretly factor, and then Nightmares in the Bunker, or if they were to decide later rivals to just do one guy Bunker on either half, right, and just let Nightmares run around in mid with the rest of them, that makes it even more stressful for HRG, having to deal with a third stud in the middle area of the map. I'm inclined to go with later rivals on Thunder, but HRG, like, it's really not that far off from them being able to win that map either. On the back of Storm, on a sniper map, you just need the other rifle part of the team to just, they don't have to go get 80 kills or anything, like, just need to be around, like, the 50, 55 range between 3 of them each, just to kind of counteract the damage that will inevitably be being done by Secretly and Casino. Even if it's like just making the goal limiting their damage, not necessarily inflicting the damage yourself, just kind of like locking them in and isolating them to areas that aren't going to be like insta multi-kills. Keep them from getting to Susie, keep them from getting to Lower Church, keep them from getting to yellow windows in your second flag, just kind of trying to contain where they're getting their kills from, and having a game plan for that. Or just going out and fragging out. Like, they can do that too. Nitrox, ARG, and Gandhi, very capable of just going out and dominating with rifles. But that's the key. That mid battle is going to be non-stop back and forth, but Casino and Secretly, they're putting up numbers that are just unreal. And if there's no answer for that here, later rivals, they go. They win. They get the rings. They get the Silver 2 championship. HRG, very, very capable of finding an answer to that. It's just a matter of doing so. I lean later rivals, but again, just a little bit off here. Like, HRG can very easily get together today, tomorrow, and come up with something, if they haven't already, to be able to deal with that fucking three-headed monster of later rivals and have an answer for it and take the series. But that's going to be a fun one. I wish I was going to get to cast it. I don't know. It doesn't seem like I will get to for the time being, though. But maybe I get lucky and they're playing at a different time or on a different day. That would be awesome. Okay. Whew, so, where are we at now? Oh, sweet Jesus. Silver semifinals. All right. So, starting off with the Goose versus Saab side of things. This game I do get to cast. Right off the bat here, Goose Patrol, undefeated obviously. Saab been one of the hotter teams in the league, as they always tend to do in the second half of seasons heading into the playoffs. This is now them trying to break through for the first time, get into the finals, right? These guys, all very good, very experienced players, played together. Really the definition of a team, right? Another team like that, like the Spicy. Here's the thing, Goose Patrol, same fucking thing. PDX and Asani, a little bit newer to the lineup, and Bromley now, but Bromley's been buddies with them forever. It's just that he was playing for like Washed Up and everything before. So that's, I put Bromley into the Goose Patrol like core players anyways. But Goose Patrol, their main roster has been playing together for 3 seasons now, really. It's been very, very impressive, their body of work that they've put in, and I expect it'll be no different. Saab gonna have a tough time breaking through a team that hasn't fucking lost this season at all. But it's doable. So, Goose, right off the bat, banned Anzio. I get it. I totally get it. Then Saab comes back with Thunder. That's interesting to me. However, I do think that they played against each other and lost. I think Saab lost that matchup. Nightmare sniped, and I believe DB sniped it. Actually, no. Who won that game? I'm going to go double check that real quick. That was last season. I'm 99% sure. So I just need to find the playoffs. Sub. There it is. You never know. Saab versus Shut Up, We're Trying. So Saab did actually win this matchup. I'm thinking, though, it's the PDX factor, right? They don't want to deal with Brito on Thunder. He will break mid with nades thousands and thousands and thousands of times. Now, this team, Shut Up, We're Trying, is basically Goose. It's just that they have Illusion and Aim Tech on it. But Crawd, DB, Nicholson, I'm pretty sure Hopper was on this team as well. And obviously Goose in Season 3 made it to the finals together. But here we did have Nightmare versus DB sniper matchup. Looks like Nightmare on Axis side had a dominant half there. Nightmare on Allied side, 34 and 17. Well, I guess they're not playing Thunder, so why am I even getting into it? I just was curious why they banned Thunder. Probably because of Brino, that's my guess. Goose goes with Railroad 2. Very understandable. We've seen what PDX can do even to Thunder, to Icy Hot, to any of these teams. He is just such a big anchor player on Railroad 2. Just makes it near impossible to get mid, especially when he's on Axis and he has Underpass to fuck with. I mean, he can fuck with Underpass either side, right? But very, very good at timing breaks on Railroad 2. And then obviously Ryan in the lofts, very good at that map. The heavies, talking about it over and over again, how great their heavy team has been together. Crawd and Hopper in apartments specifically, we've seen them have massive games in apartments on Railroad 2. And then both on the train side and four-way, I feel like their players really understand what they need to do working together as a unit in that area of the map. It's not like this is your route, this is my route. They kind of double up, switch back and forth, play it off of spawns, play it situationally, PDX directing traffic. I think that's a very good map pick for Goose Railroad 2. For Saab, again, Nightmare sniped in that playoff series last season. I don't know that they're going to do that this time. It looks like Nightmare has been predominantly car barring, which is a good use of him too. The guy's a fucking stud. You want him out there having his best chance at going off for 80 to 100 kills. On a map like Railroad 2, I don't think you necessarily need to deploy him as a sniper. The battles, I think, are more often going to come down to the apartment side and in four-way, in mid. As a sniper, you might be a little more limited in that regard, but I don't know. It really depends on your theory on how to win Railroad 2. Do you think Nightmare on a sniper can have an easier time just controlling the pace of play in mid, keeping them off white, keeping the sniper out of loft, just rotating around the map the way Nightmare does, finding openings and creating opportunities for the rest of his team? Nightmare obviously a natural sniper. It's always probably the best move to have Nightmare on that sniper rifle, but with a car bar, he can have a lot of impact all the same. It's just a matter of where the impact comes from and how comfortable he is feeling in those situations. Would he rather be on a car or be on a bar, or would he rather have that scope and be able to take these more long-range battles on Allied side in particular? Of course, apartments, always very important, right? Axis side apartments, Crawd and Hopper have been great on Railroad 2 together. Immediately, that makes things difficult for Saab in apartments. Manor, right, on one side with the heavy. Who's the other heavy? It's a little more up in the air. Just looking at the screenshots from the previous week of who did what here. So in this game on the heavies, it was Manor and Caleb, right? Now, if Caleb's playing on Railroad 2, he's going train. You know, that's his route, that's his spot. So he's not going to be one of those guys in apartments with a bar. That's where it comes down to Nightmare, right? Like, is Nightmare barring on allies and then carring on Axis? I'm guessing that's more likely to be what they do. Toki sniping up against DB, Nightmare taking a bar in apartments, helping out with Manor, trying to equalize that heavy team that Goose will have in the apartments on that half, getting balcony control, making life hard on DB, and potentially having to deal with PDX. Nightmare and Manor up against PDX. You know, like, obviously that's the biggest crux of the game. If PDX is playing, you gotta try to contain him. You can't let him go, do what he always does, and get 80 kills. Again, easier said than done, as I can attest to from personal experience, but certainly not out of the realm of possibility. It's just, I really like the way that Goose play as a unit on Railroad 2. I think matchup-wise, it works out close enough in their favor in all areas that they should be able to pull it out. And then the big X factor of PDX. His feel for the game and the speed of the game and the timings of the game is very tough to deal with on Railroad 2 in particular, because every time you think you might have all 6 guys down in an opening to go for mid, there's PDX with a 4.5 second prime nade blowing up 3 of you off the cap and then turning it into a full cap for his own team. You know, and he can go any route and do that. Like, he has such a good mind for the game and where things are going on and where he needs to be in best position to make impact plays, that it doesn't really matter what route he's on. He's going to find a way to have that impact. He can car apartments, he can car 4-way, he can car long, he could fucking car train, and I bet he would still get his kills on that half. And then on Allied side, is he in ticket making life a living hell for like the whole map? Is he going long where he can slither around a little bit more, get into underpass and flank, be in apartments unexpectedly? He's certainly not going to be in train on Allied side, I would guess, but you never know, because then if he gets the kill on the train guy, then where the fuck did he go? Is he in 4-way? Is he at your 1? Is he ninja'd? Did he just go back to mid and we're looking for him for nothing? With Brino, it's totally up in the air, and he will find ways to make your life a living hell. I am inclined to go with Goose Patrol in that matchup. But then you got Armory. And Saab, I would say Saab has proven to be the best team in DOD on Armory. They have really taken to this map and made it their own. Even for us, having scrimmed against them on Armory, they're very tough. Like, I don't know what it is. If it's that they have put in extra work on it to get that identity where they really specialize in Armory, or if it's just naturally something that caters to their players in particular, their play styles, or what. But they look great on Armory. Certainly, a strong sniper like DB can help equalize things, but Toki has been one of the best snipers on Armory too, so like that kind of negates that. Nightmare has been excellent at Armory, whether he's straight rifling or car barring, and then even if you wanted to put Nightmare on a sniper and try to have him just control the entirety of that bridge area of the map, again, I don't know that that's the best idea necessarily when you got Toki who's doing a great job on the map already, but you know, in case of emergency, pull lever, right? You got that option with Nightmare always. You know, I personally can't find the success in doing that, but Nightmare can find success sniping on any map. So, you know, if that's the direction that they choose to head, not a bad idea. I would trust in whatever their instinct is on Armory, as they've proven they are excellent at the map. I'm taking them on Armory just straight up here. PDX, certainly he can have a lot of kills, and he can be an absolute nuisance breaking mid and just being tough to get out of there. I've seen him do some really fucking interesting stuff on Armory, on Bridge in particular. But I think Saab will generally be prepared for anything Goose has to throw at them on this map. And I think it'll go to a third. The third is Harrington. And this map, man, it's just such a shit show. And this is a map where, in particular, an individual can have enough impact to just completely swing a game into their team's direction, and that's where you want a guy like PDX with his nades, especially, right? We've all experienced what it's like getting dominated by PDX in middle on Harrington, thinking you can cap mid over and over again, only to have a double or triple nade go off in your face over any numerous numbers of ceilings. It's just like impossible to get mid against PDX on this map. That right away, right, like point in favor of Goose Patrol here. And it's another one where it's like, Nightmare on the Sniper, like, yeah, you can dominate in mid, but when you're dealing with a steady stream of 10 nades in your face, like, do you really want to be doing that? I don't know. I probably wouldn't. I think you want Nightmare to be that counter to Brino. You want the two big boys, the big dogs in the yard, going head to head, throwing their nades, break in mid, just overall putting down big numbers for their teams. Toki can do more than enough on this map. You don't need, I think, to pull that emergency Nightmare Sniper lever. I think it'd be more important for him to be on another class with grenades where he's able to just like fuck shit up on mountain, fuck shit up in mid, whether he just straight rifles or car bars. I think that's the direction I would go as Saab. Just right there, like Nightmare, PDX, try to have them cancel each other out a little bit. Again, it's so much easier said than done. Every team has tried it. Very few, if any, have had success. I don't know that PDX has lost on Harrington in ever. Which right there, you gotta figure you're looking at Goose, right? Generally favorable towards Goose, but I've seen all the guys on Saab have these crazy comeback wins on Harrington, coming back from very unfavorable scenarios and managing to pull it out just as a team. I'm very, very interested in seeing a potential third map on Harrington with this matchup. Toki versus DB. It's a fun sniper matchup in mid. You got to figure most of the time the allied sniper will win in that scenario. The guys going mid for Saab need to be as successful with their nades as Brino's going to be in mid. You just have to be. If you're not, then that right there is the game breaker, because he will have so much impact with his nades, especially on allies, that if you can't at least come close to having that same impact with your team's nades, like that's enough right there for how important nades are on that godforsaken map. So that, I think, is a very big key for Saab, which I'm sure they are all over it, King Yo is a expert fucking nader, and I'm sure he has already given everybody the know-how on how to execute all the miscellaneous crazy fucking grenades on Harrington. The mountain side of things, right, Manor, and then Nightmare maybe on allies, Caleb maybe, JN maybe, right, it could be anybody there. That one is going to be a bit of a toss-up, right? Crawd and Hopper, very capable of just like going off and having a dominant half, especially on their allied side with bars. Manor, though, like Manor is pretty good at controlling the important areas of ladder, right? He understands what matters on Mountain on Harrington. And then if you're sending a car that route as the great equalizer, right, which is a good idea in this day and age with the way that the pace of game has been on Harrington overall. The bars generally against two STGs or Unters are just taking it to them. They're putting the hurt on them. They're pushing forward. They're throwing their grenades. They know the areas that they can sit in and the other ones that they have to avoid. I think Saab sending a car there is probably what they will do to try to counteract that, and then have that car get the ladder control and try to help out mid. Scotty is a very good mid player to begin with on both halves. He's great at just getting the picks from top white to all the areas of mid, pre-firing the most common spots to be in and hitting those shots, because he's very good at that side of things to begin with. Overall, it's like you gotta go with Goose. They haven't lost, right? I'm picking them to potentially lose a map here, even though they've never lost a map. But I just think Saab is so good at armory, they will find a way to claw back tooth and nail and win that game no matter what's going on. Harrington, though, again, assuming that Brino is playing. If PDX isn't there, it's wide open. Wide open on all maps there. And without him, Goose is still the scariest team in the division. You got Asani there anyways, who's been getting like 40 kills a half. It's just that the way the kills are being achieved is very different. PDX is getting a lot of nade breaks to get his kills. A lot. There's a reason getting a gun kill and then a double nade at the same time is the PDX special, because he does that shit all the time. He's breaking mid, he's breaking whatever double cap there is on any given map. That's the difference maker. Can Goose win without PDX? Fucking absolutely. I just think Saab wins Armory either way, right? Now, if it's Railroad 2 and you don't have that PDX mid-breaking acumen, that makes it a little bit back more in Saab's favor. I still would pick Goose to win Railroad 2. It's Harrington. PDX has such immense impact on Harrington with his grenades, it's almost impossible to replace that. Like with one player, right? Unless everybody on Goose like gets some nade lessons from PDX, and this is the nade I throw, this is how I throw it, this is when I throw it, so that they can as a team replace that nade impact if he's not playing. I'm assuming he's going to be playing just because it's the fucking final or the semifinals. Like, it's do or die. But just, as a little bit of a point of contention, if they don't have PDX, I mean, I could see Saab winning Harrington just by nature of not having to deal with the steady stream of PDX nades blowing 2 guys up or 3 guys up at a time. So that's the big variable here that I don't know for certain. I think that without PDX, that Harrington game is going to be like a 50-point or less win for either side. With PDX, I favor Goose. I think that they could possibly win that thing by 2 caps, 2.5 caps with Brino in there. Without him, it's a fucking coin flip. Could go either way. I think it comes down to a cap, 1 cap overall in either direction. But it's almost like, why would you pick against Goose until they've shown that they're even capable of losing, right? Overall, I'm going to pick Goose, but there are a million scenarios where Saab can take this thing. You could even see him take it 2-0, right? If things go a little bit awry on Railroad 2, Saab has the guys that can take advantage of that and make mistakes really fucking painful for Goose. But Goose have looked so good as a team, with or without PDX this season. I just don't see them losing here, and I gotta take them overall. Just, take all other potential variables and throw them aside and say Goose takes it 2-1. And then they go wait in the finals for this other matchup to play out. Where is it? Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Spicy versus Romario. So as alluded to earlier, this is a rematch of the Season 3 Silver B Finals, where Romario was able to beat Spicy in that series, get that ring. Now, for Spicy, as I said earlier, this is the storyline of redemption. 3 straight finals, 3 straight runner-ups for Spicy. Now, the first team they lost to in a final doesn't exist anymore. Forget about him. The second team they lost to in the final is Romario. They're playing him right here. The third and most recent team they lost to in a final, it's 3H. It's the team they just swept out of the playoffs last week. So for Spicy to go get themselves their first successful ring, the trek involves taking out the 2 biggest ghosts of their past from finals and then potentially having to be the team to knock off an undefeated Goose Patrol squad for their first loss. That would probably be the most impressive playoff run to a championship that there's been in KTP, if not in DOD history. Taking off the previous season's champions, then the team to beat you in the finals before that as well, and then knock off a team that hasn't lost yet, that would be quite impressive. Now, this matchup is a very tough one overall, right? Right off the bat, Romario bans Anzio, good call. Definitely a good call. Spicy bans Thunder, a good call. Romario is very, very good at Thunder. Romario picks Lennon. I think both teams are pretty goddamn good at Lennon. Spicy picked Saints. I think both teams are pretty fucking good at Saints too, right? The sniper matchup on a map like that, Stamp versus Band, I think is a very, very intriguing one. And then the rifle teams going against each other of Die Life, Dillard, Laura versus Rafinha and LZL and BLK. A lot of frag power there, right? Okay, then Spicy Bans Harrington. Yeah. And then the final map comes down to, is it Armory is a Railroad 2? You don't want to play a potential crazy fucked up map like Armory where ninja caps happen all the time and it's just so random, right? It's a fun map, but it's too chaotic for that third map of a semifinal. So they ban out Armory. It goes to Railroad 2, which is a matchup that we actually did see this season, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me scroll back on through. That's Harrington, so it's right about here, right? There it is, yeah. So, of course, it was a crazy fucking game. 124 to 114. Romario took this game by 10 points. Spicy won their allied side by about 80. Then Romario won their allied side by about 80, or about 90. Wow, lots of kills on their allied side there, too. Jesus. So, that would make for a very, very fun third map. I really hope it goes that far. Of course, again, don't know. They're playing at default as of now, so I'm not going to get to cast this game, which is unfortunate for me. But a 3-map series of Lenin, Saints, and Railroad 2, I think, has a lot of potential for fireworks here. Starting off on Lenin, right away, we've seen just last week the ability of Spicy to deal with a good Lenin team and take them out still, right? And it's not necessarily like about like, oh, their heavies are in apartments dropping 100 kills and shit like that. It's more about the way that they function throughout the map as a unit. On their allied side, they're good at taking map control and then turning it into full caps. You know, not just stalling out and holding on for like 10 minutes and then losing the map control and giving up a full cap. That's something teams have problems with. Like, getting the full cap finished off is like an identity for certain teams. There are a lot of teams that are great at getting the map control, but then they just can't quite break through all the way, and eventually they break and it turns back in the other direction. Spicy is good at both sides of that, both getting the full caps themselves and defending against the full caps on the other end, turning it into control for themselves. However, on a map like Lenin, right, you got to deal with Bud and Matt in apartments right off the bat. It's a nice apartments team. Bud is great in Lenin apartments. Kevin and Ryan will have their hands full, but I think that they will work together as a heavy team to be able to make that more of a 50-50. In well, though, Rafinha and LZL, we have seen both those guys single-handedly dominate well in the past, but, again, in this case, it's just fucking 4 guys that could be dropping 50 kills any half, because you got Rafinha and LZL against Dillard and Die Life. This is like 4 of the top, like, 7 rifles in silver, just like taking your little toys when you're 5 years old and just banging them together. That's basically what well is going to be like. So who's going to come out on top of that one? Which toy was made more sturdy? I don't know. That is a total toss-up. And then on long, BLK and Man versus Stamp and Laura. Having scrimmed against both of them, they both have a really good understanding of how to work long in their favor, which is easier said than done. I complain about Lenin Long all the time because it's something that involves a little bit of finesse to really have things consistently stay in your favor on that area of the map, especially due to apartments being right there, due to the fact that nades are not that valuable in the actual area of the cap. They're more valuable when pushing up beyond the cap and when trying to defend while while capping the objective and everything. Both teams are really, really good at playing in that area of the map. I myself prefer to just not even snipe 90% of the time on long, but I think for both these guys, Man and Stamp, like, they will have the sniper they will be willing to drop it when they're pushing up, but they're not going to just do it for the sake of like, well, I got killed 3 times in a row like I do. Where I'm just like looking for an excuse to get off of it. They, I think, will have a pretty fun sniper matchup, like a more cerebral sniper matchup. It's not going to be like, me versus Nick Patton, where we're going for like bunny hop no scopes against each other at bench on long. Like, these guys are going to be playing positional sniping DOD, where, may the best man win as a fundamental DOD sniper. In this case, right, again, I'm very, in this, actually, not again, this is a little bit different. I'm inclined to give the teams their map picks here, right? For Romario on Lenin, but here, this one is like closer than any other game I think we're going to talk about. It could turn back on either map. For Spicy, Dillard and Die Life, right? If they're just dominating well, it kind of doesn't matter what happens in the rest of the map, because long is so back and forth, right? And in apartments, like, if you have well, then your well team is able to help support apartments, and it can turn what has otherwise been not in your favor into map control for you. So, like, if Dillard and Die Life go out there and have themselves a big old performance on well, that's where things go back in the hands of Spicy. Regardless of anything else going on, like, if they are just making well a living hell for Rafinha and LZL, that will turn into cap-outs for them. Both teams are really good at defending on their Axis side, and not just defending, ad infinitum, at defending and then turning it back in their favor. Getting the kills on the one and then going through long, capping long, retaking apartments, then circling back around once you've cleared it out and helping out well. They both are good at that. They both understand how to do that. I think this might be one of those games where, like, you see kind of like the Over versus Bandits Lenin game last week. I could see this game being like almost a replay of that, where it just comes down to, fucking 10 points here. But I fully expect this game to go all 3. Like, whoever is the ones to win each map here, I think it's going all 3 games, and I say that quite confidently. But I'm just going to, for the sake of consistency, I'm going to go with Romario on Lenin. And I'm going to, then again, though, like, there has been a lot of, maybe the higher percentage pick is to say Spicy wins Lenin and Romario wins Saints, right? I guess it depends on what you believe is more likely to happen in that case. Do you think Dillard and Die Life are going to dominate the well, or do you think Rafinha and LZL are going to dominate the well? That's really what I think it's going to come down to above all else, because there's just so much raw power between those 4 rifles there. It's going to be scary to watch. And I'm glad to not be a part of it myself. If I was one of those 4 rifles, I would get dumped on pretty quickly. Then it moves on to Saints. Spicy picks Saints, which is a very understandable pick, with a big centralized double cap, lots of long-range engagements for Stamp, for Dillard, for Die Life, for Lore to be able to take those engagements. And then on top of all that, you have the bonus security blanket of Kevin being able to pick up sniper rifles off the ground and also be sniping across that bridge, right? That right there is a major X factor on this map. You have Kevin on the heavy, and he's very capable of getting a bunch of kills with the heavy, but every time there's a sniper rifle on the ground that he can pick up, you got a double sniper on a map where snipers generally are going to be the most dominant force you can have. Thing is, on the other side, too, for Romario, like, you got plenty of guys that just their raw mechanical aim, reaction time, and everything, they can pick up snipers and have impact, too. It's just a natural sniper like Kevin might be able to do it for a more extended period of time every time he does it. Saints is really tough, right, because Bridge just seems like there's no good time to cap it. Like, every team that makes the mistake of waiting for the perfect opportunity to cap Bridge on Saints, they just never get the Bridge. It's a mistake we make a lot of the time on Thunder, too, where we just will, like, there'll be like 10 minutes into the half and nobody's gotten Bridge yet because we had opportunities to maybe jump on it, but we were a little too hesitant to do so. And then by the time we do, the breaks come, it's just a lot of times with a map like that, a map like Harrington, like, the perfect time just isn't going to come. And as soon as you get the inkling that we should jump on mid, just do it. Someone's just got to take control of the situation. Let's fucking get mid right now. If it blows up in your face, guess what? You're going to respawn in 1 to 10 seconds anyways. You can bring things back still. With Saints, though, like that is a very extreme tipping point is being able to get mid to begin with, because it can be a lot. If you got a good water player, especially on the allied side, that guy can just be lighting you up with nades. There is that nade catcher on the Axis side of bridge now, right? That doesn't stop the water nades at all. Like if you're throwing nades from water, just throw them the same. That thing, what it does is, so if you're throwing nades from the other end of bridge, now you can't just like throw them 100 feet in the air and have it funnel straight into the tank. I think all that nade catcher is really, because I still get naded a fucking million times on that Axis side of bridge, but you just have to throw a line drive throw now, basically. But like I know before, you could just basically go from any side of the allied bridge and just throw a nade as high and far as you wanted to, and the way that the Axis bridge side was set up, like it would blow up the sniper. You did not need any finesse at all. It was maybe like the most forgiving nade that you could throw on any map. It was just throw it up as far as you can, and it's going to bounce in the area of the sniper and blow their face off. So like, it's a nade you still need to be throwing over and over again. You just got to be a little more precise with it now, which I think is a fair trade-off. Like I would prefer that the Axis side of bridge can't get naded at all, but that would be kind of shitty for everyone on allies when an Axis sniper is just safely able to stand there and take favorable engagements all over the place, right? So like I understand the trade-off. I was a little bit reluctant about it at first too, because it was kind of like, well, then what are you going to do as an ally? But it ended up being like a pretty even swap when it came down to the value of the allied nades and how difficult it became to them. It's really like about a 10% harder to throw that grenade, I'd say. So both teams need to be pelting that Axis side of bridge with grenades. It's so much easier than it is to do onto the allied side of bridge. But again, like this map picked by Spicy, I'm inclined to take Spicy to win this map. I think Dillard and Die Life, just the whole rifle core of Spicy, is one of their biggest strong points. And then throwing in stealth, being able to pick up sniper rifles whenever Stamp is dead. You can see Kevin going and pick up a sniper, immediately carry the torch of getting sniper kills from one side of bridge to the other, making it near impossible for Romario to get on the bridge. Mand will have his hands full. For the Romario side of things, like you need to be strong on your water player. That water player needs to be hitting the nades on allied side to the Axis side of bridge to keep those guys on the end of bridge uncomfortable, whether it's Dillard, whether it's Die Life, and then Stamp, of course. And then on the broken side of things, because I can assure you, an area like that is very favorable to a player like Stealth. And they will have good setups there where it's like double peeks, one out the red door, one out the puzzle piece, like, two guys peeking you at once so you can't possibly kill them both unless you hit a crazy spray transfer. Like their team fundamentals will be on point across the board on the Spicy side of things. So Romario, the best way to counter that is to have your fucking nades be on point. And then you're just going to have to be hitting your shots, because Die Life and Dillard will hit their shots 99 times out of 100. This map could come down to turning back in the other direction just by the nature of Romario having like a Rafinha or an LZL or a Bud go off and have a big half on either half and swing things more in their direction. But I think both teams take their own map picks. And then it goes to Railroad 2. Railroad 2, as I said, we've already seen this matchup this season, and it was as close as can be, 10 points there. The thing is, like, you already played this game, so you have the demos to go through and figure out what you can or need to do differently. So looking at the way it went down here, who did what? LZL had a good game with a car. Bud had a good game on the STG. Mand had a good game. On the Spicy side, Stealth had a good game. Stamp, Die Life, Lynx was in that game as well. So no Dillard that time. That alone, right, I think if you're Spicy, you can feel much, much better when you get Luke back in that lineup for the same matchup. On the Allied side, it looks like a lot of trouble for Spicy on their Axis side. It was just relentless here by Romario. 180 kills for them. LZL had 37. Man had 34. Bud had 33. Rafinha had 29. Just like all around, their whole team was great on their Allied side. So if you're Spicy, you want to tighten things up on your Axis side, right? Just getting Luke back in the lineup there is going to make a huge difference. Him carring four-way is very, very good. And then the way that him and Twist work together between four-way and Train as well. I think Spicy oftentimes will have Die Life Car Bar on this map. So that he can be in apartments / long on both halves and have a favorable weapon in those scenarios, which is a good idea. So, like, you know, that's another area where it could come down to just who has a stronger game fragging. Like, if you have Die Life and Stealth in apartments with bars having really good games, it's going to be a lot to overcome when you're an Axis team on Railroad 2, because your sniper is going to be constantly having to deal with a stream of bar bullets coming at him on balcony, not going to be able to pay attention to white, not going to be able to deal with Stamp over in the loft, who's going to then just have free reign to stare down four-way, make life difficult for whoever's going four-way. I just Dillard being back is enough that this game then becomes like a dead heat between the two of them. Like, you can't say, definitely Romario, they won the first matchup. Spicy was missing Dillard. So right there, I think that makes it another 50-50. Man versus Stamp becomes like a big key matchup there. If either sniper is able to just comfortably sit there and thin out the numbers of either team on mid, you know, it just gets so much easier to be able to actually execute and succeed at capping mid and getting ticket and four-way control and just being on the other team's side of the map and making life miserable at their spawns. So that right there, very important. And then the as always, the apartment battle, right? You could see something like what Childen's Guild was doing against us, where they had like 3-4 guys in apartments, making it just impossible for us to get into lower apartments on Axis. You have to find an answer to that if that's what the team does. What is the answer? I don't know. It might be flooding through four-way. It might be taking through underpass, just ignoring apartments and leaving someone there to not let them get through to sandbag spawn, things like that. But whoever is able to control apartments more often than not on either half is the more likely team to win that half. Generally speaking, very allied-sided map. But I do think that when it comes to just like straight capouts without ninjing, if you can get mid control and establish map control in apartments and in ticket, it's way easier to cap out on Axis side. Like, all you got to do, you get a guy or two in ticket, you tell your train player, I'm in ticket. When I open the doors in 3, 2, 1, start peeking, and then you got 2 targets for guys to have to deal with. They have to hit 3 crazy shots to guarantee you don't cap out there. It's just much easier to execute a basic cap out on Axis side. So I think that game gets made or broken in who has a better Axis side offensively. You expect as allies to get mid a little bit easier, to be able to get spawn kills a little bit easier. Like, your long guy goes down if you don't have someone swing out from apartments. But then if they do swing out apartments, guess what? That opens up a lane in apartments to get balcony control. And then when they come back into apartments, you're already there. Like, it's a trade-off a lot of the time. And it just comes down to, like, your own game theory on how you want to approach that area and that situation. I don't fucking know, man. Like, train cars, very 50-50. I think it's Twist versus Matt, certainly in one half. And then Twist versus probably, like, LZL on the other half. Or maybe BLK. You can use Train. A lot of people hate on Train, but Train can be like the most golden offensive weapon you can have. If you can get 2 guys pushed through Train on either half, and one of them can go through to the flag, whether it's the Allied second, the Axis first, and then send the other one through four-way or up into ticket to flank mid. Look at Train as an opportunity rather than a chore, I think, is a good way to look at Railroad 2, and is the way that we've had success on it most of the time. It's kind of like, use Train to your advantage. Don't look at it like, oh, fuck, I'm the Train player. Look at it like, I'm going Train. If I can go get 3 kills ever in a row as pushing through train, odds are that's going to result in us doing something good. It's just one of those things that I think it's just a matter of changing your perspective on it to turn things to your advantage on this map. Really, it's a coin flip, honest to God. Like, that map, I hope it gets to 3, because I think that map would be another crazy fucking game that comes right down to the end. We've seen it before with Romario, games where it looks like they're done. There's 5 minutes left, they need 2 caps, and suddenly they pull one out of their ass in 30 seconds, and then they grind it down and control the map right down to the last minute, and then cap out to win. But Spicy is not the kind of team that's likely to give something like that up either, and they are more than capable of doing the same. Man, I don't know. I have no idea who I would pick on this third map, gun to my head. I think it really will just come down to like a secondary player, not the Die Life, the Diller, the Rafinha, the LZL, the Stamp, the Man, not those guys. I think it's going to come down to the support players and one of them having a big game on that Railroad 2 game that turns the tide.
This?
No.
Like, it's flipped so hard. Like, I was 6 or 7 frags.
Oh, man. The Nas is getting whooped right now. Frost Moon.
This guy became a god.
Oh, God, I love Quake. The game that decides who's going to win at the drop of a hat. Jesus. Okay, now I will finish the end of this DODCAST real quick, because it is now nearly 2 hours into it. So, the last thing that needs to be done here is, of course, where are we here? There we go. All right. The gold finals. Where are we? Get down to the bottom. Okay, so checking out the veto. No, wait, match alerts. Checking out the veto. This was a pretty interesting veto, to be honest. We actually had no idea what to realistically expect. I figured they would probably ban Railroad 2. But then on our side of things, it was because they whooped us on Armory and they whooped us on Anzio, that immediately forced us to have to use a veto on Armory. Because like you don't want to go into Armory where we didn't feel like we really had a chance to get any better at, and we had lost very convincingly to them. Just didn't feel like you wanted to risk that being picked there. Like, we could have banned Harrington, then we felt like they were going to pick Armory, and then we're fucked. I think, obviously, they're so good at Harrington, they pick Harrington, and then we got to try to have a good understanding of why they're so good at Harrington and come out, and we just have to play, like, basically a perfect game of DOD against them on Harrington. That's basically what it comes down to, right? You generally know what to expect out of any given Harrington game. It's just that they are so good at thriving in the chaos of these Harrington games. It's just unbeatable. So we have to find a way to thrive in the chaos of that game. And then this was another tough one, right? Lennon and Anzio are both there. Didn't want to play Thunder because that's another toss-up one, right? A map like Thunder, you're given a lot of rain there to the nades of CK, of Timo, of Taylor, and then, of course, Justin on a sniper. Like, do you really want to play that game? I certainly don't. But the tough call was the pick, because you have the option of picking Lennon, which Bandits is going to be very good at, or picking Anzio, but we lost to them on Anzio. Now, of course, playing a starter down on Anzio, our lineup was a little bit fucky, but like, how confident do we really feel that just reconfiguring to have our starting lineup there is enough to make up the deficit that we lost by? It was a tough call. We went with Lennon. Lennon, I think a lot of the time really just comes down to, which team individually all have a better game just fragging-wise, so then, if we lose Harrington, it comes down to Lennon, we just have to have a good game. That's the way you do it. Like, if we don't come out and people aren't hitting their shots and people aren't communicating well, we lose, that's on us. And And then we banned Thunder, as I said, didn't want to play that game. Then it came down to a very interesting one where it was they could pick Anzio, right? They beat us on Anzio. Again, if we felt that confident on Anzio, we could have picked Anzio or Saints. And I was like, please tell me they're going to pick Saints here, because that would be so interesting to have a third map in a best of 3 in a gold final go down to Saints. And sure enough, they did ban Anzio. Saints is the third map. I can assure you that there has never been a grand final on Saints. There haven't been that many best of 3s across DOD history in general, finals or otherwise. So Saints as a finals map of any sort, it's never happened. And here we are. Saints is the third map decider in this game, which, if it gets to that point, would be absolutely fucking crazy. You have no idea what to realistically expect out of that. This veto, it could have gone so many different ways, right? Like, generally, though, I was pretty sure they would ban Railroad 2. This took us like hours to decide what are we going to ban here. Figured they'd pick Harrington. This took us hours to decide. Do we pick Lennon? Do we pick Anzio? Total fucking toss-up. Banning Thunder was easy, and then this, I mean, honestly, I would have guessed that they would ban Saints, but I was hoping that they wouldn't, just for the level of interesting that you would get out of a third map on Saints. But getting into, where do we have the previous games here? So we haven't played each other in a match on any of these maps now, because that was Anzio and Armory. So we have no prior experience playing one another on the maps that were actually set up for in the finals. Obviously, we saw Bandits with a big, decisive victory on Harrington. A close loss on Lennon versus Over, but I think that was more Over playing very well than it was Bandits doing anything wrong. Then we beat Childen Skilled on Harrington by much closer margin. That alone right there, I mean, right, you gotta favor Bandits in that matchup. I think you favor Bandits on Harrington against absolutely anybody. I think the only team that could beat them on Harrington is NSA, and guess what? There's like 3 guys on this team from NSA, or 2 guys on this team from NSA, so it'd be impossible to play that game. You know, they're just so good in the crazy situations that come up on this map. But head-to-head matchup-wise, right, you got Milo and Taylor on heavies versus Jules and Ryan Emo. That's a crazy heavy matchup. On a map like Harrington, on a map like Lennon, on a map like Saints, that's a lot of head-to-head play between heavies where, like, it's just going to come down to who hits the shot each given life. Teamwork-wise, both heavy teams have played together forever, effectively. Like, that is not an issue to worry about at all. It just comes down to who on the day is at their sharpest. You know, but you look at a map like Harrington, you gotta favor Bandits. You just have to. You see, I throw away the week 1 loss to Grey Hair Mafia. That's not the Bandits that you need to think of on Harrington. It's this one. We scrimmed against them dozens of times on it. I don't think we beat them in a Harrington scrim once. There's certainly been closer games than this on Harrington, but like they're just very good at the map. We are cursed on this map as well, just to like throw another wrench in the fucking mix. You know, it's one of those things where like I don't know, I would be very surprised if we were to be able to come out and win on Harrington. I think we will be able to keep it close and that it'll be a fucking intense game. I just think when all is said and done, they will have a better understanding of how to maneuver the like back against the wall situations into their favor. They will have a little bit better timing when it comes to breaking mid with grenades. A little bit better execution on their nades as well, like the more acrobatic grenades over fucking walls and shit like that. Like, I just feel like they will hit their nades 99 times out of 100 and we'll hit them like 87 times out of 100, and that will be enough to make the difference. You know, the battle in mid, when you've got like CK and Gall and Justin, and then me and Tox and Dorito, like that's just going to be so hectic. Justin will be a major X factor in there along with grenades and, you know, Toxinator, right? Tox is going to have to both have Toxinator's, like, weapon skill and CK's and Teemo's grenade skill to be able to really like have any chance of having the favor in that area of the map. And then me versus Justin, like I'm gonna have to deal with that. Good luck to me. Certainly, Allied side, you generally will favor the Allied sniper, but I think both of us have proven that we can have good halves sniping on Axis side, like in the craziness, right? It's a lot easier said than done to just say like I'm gonna have a good Axis half when you're dealing with those guys on the other side of the team, right? The Gaul, the CK, the Justin. I can hit all the shots I want, but when I'm dying before I can even see anybody because 3 grenades just blew up in my face, what the fuck does it matter if I'm hitting shots? I didn't have a chance to shoot. And then even if I get by those nades and I don't get shot by CK or by Gaul or by a heavy off ladder, then I'm having to deal with Justin having every advantage in the world of having the jump on me and me trying to find him either behind the sprites or behind the double door or behind the other sprites or an upper connector this side, upper connector this side, upper connector this side, bottom of the stairs, close mid steps, on ladder, lower mid house here, upper mid house window, upper mid house door, on the balcony. That's why Allied side sniper is generally favored for the most part in those situations. It's just a lot to deal with. Just overall, right, like, you gotta take bandits here. You just have to. I don't want to, like, go overboard predicting each and every map, but, like, I just feel like of the 3 maps, this map is most favored in one direction, and it's in bandits' direction on Harrington. I think Lennon could go either way. We haven't lost a lot of Lennon matches in KTP, but I think that map really, it's like you always hold all the cards. Both teams hold their own fates in their hands. It's down to who is hitting their shots and who is throwing the good grenades and who is making good decisions. There's not a whole lot of really intricate strategic shit that you can come up with on Lennon. A lot of the times you're just peeking each other, and whoever's quicker, whoever shot registers in a game like this 20-year-old game. There's times where you can hit your shot and the game's just not giving it to you too. That's really what Lennon comes down to. It's a lot more of a toss-up. And then Saints is a total fucking wild card. It's Saints, right? We haven't played as a community that much Saints over the years. There was a 3rd place game in Bronze a couple seasons back, or in Silver, I think it was, between Washed Up and No-Go, I want to say, was a Saints game, but that was very random. And then obviously everyone played a Saints game this season. Bandits won their Saints game. We won our Saints game. But like you did no clue how we match up against each other. I think we did scrim each other once. But it wasn't like 6 starters versus 6 starters. It was like 5 on one side, 3 on the other side, and it was a relatively close game overall, so not a whole lot to glean from that. This is, I think, a very interesting series, and in a lot of cases, it just comes down to on the day of who is able to mute out the pressure of a final, of a best of 3, of just the historical, like we've all played each other thousands of times, who can just put all that aside and go out and be sharp mechanically, be sharp in the mind, make good decisions, throw good grenades. Outside of Harrington, I think those other 2 maps are total 50-50 coin flips. If we could pull out Harrington, like that would immediately, I think, turn the momentum a lot in our favor. But I think the odds of us pulling out Harrington are just really fucking low. Just being honest, they are so good at that map. It's just like NSA and T3 where it's like, this is not the map you want to ever have to play them on. And this is kind of like another little wrinkle to why regular season matters outside of the seeds and all that and the stats and all these things. We played each other twice in the regular season, right? And because of those 2 encounters, it informed the pick ban so much that the pick ban went in a totally bizarre direction. If you had just like been able to fast forward through the regular season straight to the finals and you put us against each other without knowing anything else that happened and you went through that same pick ban, I think it goes very, very differently. I'm pretty sure, like just looking at it, if you had no regular season information, they might have still banned Railroad 2. We definitely would have banned Harrington, right? And then, I don't know, what they probably pick Lennon, and then we pick Anzio, and then Saints probably gets banned, and Thunder is the last one left over. That would be my guess for how the veto would have gone if we hadn't played each other leading into this, playoff situation. Because then we wouldn't have had the knowledge that, okay, we lost to Bandits on Anzio, and we got smoked by Bandits on Armory. We're not going to ban Armory. Like, at that point, it'd probably be more of a, like, hey, we dare you to fucking pick Armory kind of thing, right? We're banning Harrington. We don't want none of that. They probably pick Lennon because they're all very good at Lennon and love Lennon. We pick Anzio because historically we don't lose that much on Anzio. And then it comes down to Thunder and Saints for the third map. Maybe Saints ends up there either way, but I kind of doubt it. Because at that point, it would have never been played by either team in this hypothetical scenario. So I would assume that they would have banned Saints and that Thunder would have been the leftover map. Because, again, they are all also good at Thunder. And I guess in this hypothetical, because there's no information, they wouldn't have known that the mid-house isn't the same. So they might have thought, like, well, we can, Teemo and mid-house is so valuable. We're all good at nading. When it comes to bunker, like, we feel like we can lock bunker down pretty good and then use mid to our advantage. Like, I mean, thinking from the side of Bandits, right? And then Justin on mid feel like he can control that area by himself, regardless of what anybody else does. So that's just the interesting thing that comes about due to the regular season matchups. Like, a lot of times people are like, who cares about the regular season? What does it matter? Everyone makes playoffs. Well, that's why it matters. It informs a whole lot of shit later on. That can be the difference between, like, if that had been how the veto had gone, then as Thunder, you feel a lot better about your chances when it's Lennon, Anzio, Thunder. But now we're stuck playing against them on Harrington. Then Lennon is our map pick, which, like, just plays right into their hands, and then a total fucking coin flip on Saints. So the veto, I think, favoring Bandits a little bit more here overall. But, I suspect, like all the finals we generally have had with, like, any combination of these players, like, it's going to be a back and forth affair. It's going to be a absolute clusterfuck of players dropping 40s and triple grenade kills and crazy no scopes and perfect STG and bar recoil, like, I think this will be a fun one. It looks like there is a cast for it, from what I understand, like Modgers and Nine and stuff are putting together some sort of a cast for it, so that at least will get cast. When it comes to all the other games of the day, the only one I know for sure I get to do is the afternoon game of Saab versus Goose, which is another one that I think is going to be a just never-ending back and forth. But yeah, good luck, have fun to Bandits. I think this is a very, very fun finals matchup, and that the veto makes it so random and interesting, like, that alone is worth watching for. If it goes to a Saints third map, like, you have to be watching that game. Saints as a best-of-3 tiebreaker is just so bizarre. A do-or-die final in DOD. Can you imagine if, like, CPL 05 finals had been on Saints? What does Kellen do then? Like, he pushed out fucking ship pile back alley up to the Allied spawn and got 12 car kills or whatever? Like, he pushed out tank. He got 5 kills at tank with the car to cap out, like, it's just so random, and I think the perfect cap off to KTP Season 5 potentially here, if a new, not new in the sense that it's never been around before, but new in the rotation this season map were to be played as the decider in the gold finals. Just fucking classic. I really, really was excited. Because, like, I think it took... I went to bed and we didn't know yet. And then when I woke up, I saw it. And it was like, yes! They fucking banned Anzio. We actually get to do Saints as a third map. This is unheard of. And really makes for a fun storyline. You got that. You got Saab trying to break through to their first final. You got Goose trying to be the third team ever to go wire-to-wire undefeated and win a championship. You got Spicy with their redemption arc, trying to come through after 3 straight finals losses. They beat the last team that beat them in the finals. They're playing the next team that had beat them in the finals, and then they would have to go through and knock off either Saab, who are kind of like, community darlings and the underdog story, getting through to the finals finally, which makes you the villain, right? Or go and try to knock off PDX and the Goose Boys, who would be undefeated still at that point, and trying to do something that has only been done twice before. So lots of fun storylines. Silver B finals, I think, is going to go to 3 maps. Just a lot of fun DOD to get watched and played this week. I wish I was going to get to cast more of it, but it doesn't look like it. So I'll see you guys at what time is this game? 15:30, so that's what, 3:30? Okay. Yeah, that's the cast that I get to do. And then, everyone be there at 8:30 Eastern for the Bandits versus Thunder Gold Finals. There will be other games going on at that point, but cast-wise, it's totally up in the air, so I have no idea. But yeah, this one went on for... Oh, it's under 2 hours. I did it. Wait, it's frozen. Why is it frozen?